Just clarifying.
John, just in case you need a primer on the English language there, you foreign devil.
Sorry, I speak Canadian.
Yeah.
Anyway, hello everyone. Welcome back to Black Blades. You might notice that I will be your DM in the shadows this evening as me camera Brock, apparently, which is, that's fun. But I'll deal with that tomorrow. So yes, hello, we're back. We are going to be playing where we left off. Does anybody in the party have any news? Anybody have anything you'd like to make our viewers aware of?
It's my birthday on
You're
Monday.
pretty.
It's John's birthday on Monday, so everybody comment, happy birthday, John. On Monday, not if you watch this beforehand.
Yeah. If you can, no.
Anyway, yes, we will pick up where the party left off. Now, last time we were with the party, they had just made their way to Astria, the city of mages, and they'd met an old friend, actually, of friendlier faces, Magister Alex. They met him in, does anybody remember? Pop quiz?
The House of Dawn?
They met him in the House Dawn Tower, yes, that is true. Where he told them that he didn't really trust anybody in the house anymore, and that they were to kind of find their own way, as he didn't really have any leads for them, other than a party was taking place in the House Dusk side of this ancient city. Now, the party needed a reason to go to the party. I've just realized that I'm using the word party a lot, but they needed a reason for the party to go to the party, so the party went to Sky College, a college that specializes in the mixture of technology and magic, where they met Sally the gnome, who is the head of Sky College and the inventor of the marvelous engine. Now, the party, some of whom were rather taken with this engine, signed on to protect it at the upcoming ball, we shall call it, in the House Dusk area. Just a protective crew to stop any prying eyes or perhaps overly inquisitive mages wishing to detect the magics used within the engine. The party were tasked with just keeping them at bay and making sure that nothing went wrong. And it's D&D, so when does anything ever go wrong? After this, the party did some light shopping and, I believe, ate some Yorkshire puddings. Was that here? I can't even remember. I can't remember what you had. You went to get food
So
somewhere.
we had like roast beef and stuff.
Oh, you had roast beef. Fantastic. And then the party made their way back to Magister Alex's house where they're staying in order to prepare. And that's where we'll join the party. We'll join them the morning of the House Dusk ball. They have the address and they're just preparing to do some corporate espionage. So, Nix, we'll start with you. What are you up to?
I am preening. Is that the right word? Not pruning.
That's a good word.
That's another thing. Yeah.
Pruning is
I'm
if you're a bird, I believe.
Yeah. So I'm like fiddling with all of my things. I'm like, it's real scratchy. This suit of mine doesn't fit too right, but you know, I'm just trying to make sure I look all good. And I'm gonna turn to. Is anyone around me, or is it just me in my room?
I'd hope it's just you in your room. Otherwise, we're gonna have some
I
very
wasn't sure if we're
complicated
like a
roleplay
common
coming
area.
up.
Okay, never mind. All right, so yeah, I'm just like fiddling and scratching, and I've got the badge now, right? The black blade.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like trying to make it all straight and readjusting it several times, and eventually I just give it and go, walk up, go find the others.
So as you all convene in the sitting room of Magister Alex's dusty old house, well, take it away. What would you like to do?
Well, don't we look like a? Oh, we look A1. This is awesome.
How do you wear this stuff?
You kind of get used to it after a while. That's why they call them monkey suits. You get a little trapped. Feels like you're in a cage.
It's scratchy in places I can't itch.
I quite like it.
You might need to go to a doctor if that's happening, Nix.
Yeah, you might be having an allergic reaction to the cotton or something. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
Is anyone else itchy?
No more than usual.
I have many questions.
I mean, it's fine.
Oz's
I just never worn
backstory
anything
comes
like
out.
this.
Should we? So the party starts at 5 o'clock, right?
That's correct.
So should we? I was talking to everyone else as well. Should we go to the Sky College first of all? Because presumably we're going to have to escort the Engin to the party.
She just tell us to meet her there.
Yeah, I think it was talked about just to meet her at the ball.
Okay.
I think if we get there a little early, we can see her when she arrives and just tag along.
Yeah, I assume there's going to be some kind of crate or something that we're gonna escort in, but I don't know if we need to necessarily escort from the college.
I
Okay.
personally hope she just drives it in.
You know, Nix, it's you know, I grew up in Brooktown. We had these things everywhere. They're not that exciting.
Derek, she lived in a forest for 100 years.
You're right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, this is going to be the most exciting thing you've seen in probably 100 years or something.
One
Oh,
thing I think we should have a little talk about is how do you plan on, you know, gleaming information? Are you just going to walk up and be like, "Hello, I'm so and so. How are you?" and so on, and hopefully they just slip up and say, "Oh, here's our master plan."
I was intending to try and talk to some of the House Dusk members and see what they know, because they may be informed about the doings of their enemy as far as that. So I was going to try and talk to them to see if they know anything.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is, how do you talk to them, though? I mean, what's the play? Do we pretend we're, I don't know, like shady people, and we
Yeah,
can
I was gonna say you just come
something
up and be like,
that? Yeah.
Well,
hello.
the three of you are Black Blades.
No, I'm just suggesting for the two of you.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't do shady that well. I was thinking that maybe I act as if I'm the one who kind of manages the three of you in terms of bodyguarding affairs.
I don't think that would make sense because we're Black Blades.
Black Blades need money though.
Yeah, but we wouldn't take orders from a non Black Blade,
I can be very
especially if
persuasive.
we're already aligned with Sally. I think that would be a bit thin. I think maybe if Derek's playing I'm a shady character, you know, perhaps Adrastus may be the perfect role for you as naive simpleton. You know, you're overwhelmed with all the lights and the sights at the ball, and you know maybe people. I don't know. I know that's kind of insulting to Adrastus, and I do apologize. But I think it's not. I think it's not a bad idea in all seriousness. Unless anyone has any other suggestions.
I was
Yeah,
just
honestly,
gonna
you
go with
might
be
wanna-
shady.
Yeah. You know, I've been shady once or twice in my life, but oh, jeez Louise. Sorry, that was my bomb falling out of my pocket.
Derek, can you make a dexterity saving throw as you fall down the stairs?
But yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what that was. It just seems like you almost want to walk around the party and you know, listen into a conversation as you're
Yeah,
walking by, and if
eavesdrop.
it makes sense, you kind of just, you know, schmooze your way in there. I told you all about schmoozing last time.
I mean,
Oh,
that's pretty much what I was intending to do, was just to go up and talk to people. I wasn't exactly going to go up and be like, "So, what do you know about Melva?"
Yeah,
Well,
that'll
that's-
probably get you
that's-
beaten up. So
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
don't do that.
But you know, from our point of view, as they don't know that I'm a Black Blade, I could be Uskian nobility, and I could just say, you know, well, Melva's still listed as the current ruler of House Dawn, but he's not been seen. Does anyone know? Like, does anyone know anything? Just purely a traveler's interest.
Fair. I mean,
yeah.
you two don't even have to, like, you know, speak to us. We could just go as if we're not even, you know,
Yeah.
not the same.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk to us anyway, so.
I really don't want to talk to us now.
All right, fair enough then.
It's okay, Oz. You and I got this.
Bloody naive simpletons. Jeez.
I mean, I thought his idea was fine because, you know, at least amongst my tribe, it seems that we don't pay as much of a heed to the dumb goblins running around. We just say
Yeah.
whatever. Maybe they'll
Yeah.
think of you the same way.
Yeah, you could do that. You could even be like a jester, you know, all the jesters in the court. Everyone, they know all the secrets because everyone's just loose-lipped around them. So, yeah, that's not a bad idea.
I'm not nearly dexterous enough to be a jester.
No, I'm not saying you should be, but you could just be, you know, that guy that everyone's just like, okay, anyway. As we were saying, evil mastermind plot.
I mean, the other alternative is I can turn into a spider and just have a wander
Ooh.
around.
See, that is shady. Do that.
But
He says he
is-
can't do shady, but he can go hide in a corner somewhere. As a
Yeah.
fucking
I
spider.
mean,
Come on now.
that
I mean,
is That is the alternative.
You could be a flying spider, so you can get around quickly.
I mean, how about we do this? You turn yourself into a spider, go, schmooze on one side, while I'll just walk around. Now, again, we have to make sure.
Spider
that-
schmoozing.
well, I don't mean schmoozing. Sorry,
Hello.
eavesdropping. The better word for it. And then, I'm just walking around. Now, here's a question. Say somebody in the party notices that there's someone, say, casting some type of magic at the endgame. They might not
I'll punch
necessarily
them.
have to be at it, right? How do we know from random conversation versus someone's casting a spell directly looking at it? How do we
Well-
differentiate that? And who calls, like, yo, Oz, you need to go bump that dude or something, right? Like, where's the communication between
Well,
us?
I mean, I'm the tallest. Sorry, Zimmy. So I can see people doing things. Like I've seen you cast your shenanigans spells and stuff. So I just gotta look for people doing strange things, and then
I cast magics,
tell them to stop.
and at least the magics I wield, I have to be saying specific phrases and things.
Yeah, you're mumbling,
It's
right?
not normal words.
Yeah.
So
I agree, but I'm worried that this convention, this ball that we're going to, is going to be full of people who are not casting magic, but are magic users. And I am not a magic user, and I'm just worried that someone's going to be like casting beside me, speaking in a language I don't understand, and I'll just be like, that's Elvish or whatever. Like, I don't know.
When in doubt, slap them.
Well, I mean,
if
I-
you suspect someone of doing magics, make sure you have my attention, and then yawn really dramatically.
that's a good idea, actually. Yeah.
Like a signal. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
Or you just say banana bread again.
Well, see,
Well, it might look a bit strange yelling that across the fancy ball.
sometimes you just have to sneak it in. You're like, oh yeah, your
No, I
mother's
wish
from
they would
Astria.
have
Yeah,
it.
no, that makes sense, man. Did you know my mother has a great banana bread? You
Yeah,
just slip
see?
it in there, right?
But no,
just-
you've got to enunciate it when you're saying it, like really passionate. Like, I
Yeah.
just love banana bread.
Or I wish they had banana bread.
Exactly, something like that.
we'll it'll be obvious. I guess we'll make some type of gesture of some sort.
I can also whisper. Don't forget that. If I can see you, I can send you a message. And don't ignore me, because I get grumpy if you do.
When aren't you grumpy?
Hmm?
What?
I'm perfectly pleasant. Sometimes.
What? I
Not always.
Sometimes.
Oh, forget about it. Let's just do. What are we doing? We have time to kill, so we're just gonna sit here figuring out how we're gonna banana bread stuff.
I love how that caught on.
It is the worst.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
really the worst.
Yeah.
My only concern with the spider sneaky shenanigans is if they have some sort of detection magic that they might be able to detect me. And also, people don't like spiders dropping down onto them.
Well, don't. That's what I'm saying. Don't drop down. Be fly.
Be a smaller spider.
Yes.
There's
Or fly.
yeah.
It
Grasshopper.
doesn't have to be a spider. It could be anything small, you know.
Just don't get swat.
I mean, the other alternative is I go in as like a dog and be someone's pet and then just wander around.
I think we're getting too complicated
Yeah.
now. I think as well
I-
we don't need to come up with contingency plans for every. We will have to use our initiative a bit on this. You know, and that has been our strongest suit in the past. So I'm quite confident.
Ah, yes, our world famous quick thinking initiative.
Exactly.
The initiatives works better than the deception most of the time. So this should go about the same.
Only one Primark release to date.
Only one.
Could be worse.
Don't worry, we can push those numbers up by the end of the session.
Speaking of sneaky, and I know we've asked this question before, names or fake names?
Did we
I
give
don't-
fake names to Sally? I don't think we did we?
No,
I
I
think-
don't think it's a good idea. I think
No,
first
I
off,
don't
if
think
you
so.
remember when we met in the combine in the assembly, what's the word I'm looking for?
Commune?
Commune. Thank you. We were pretty much found out when we gave
Oh,
out
yeah,
fake
of course.
names, right? Like
Of
these
course.
people probably know there's a list, right? There's probably like you're in, you're out, bouncer kind of thing. I can only imagine.
The monthly newsletter, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I think if we come in with fake names and they find out that they're fake names, it looks like we've got something to hide. But our story is that we are just mostly a group of sentinels that are being paid bodyguards, essentially, just trying to earn some money.
Sally will back up our story, of course.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, anything else we should sort out, or?
I need a drink. I know that. So this is gonna be fun.
All right, would you guys like to make your way towards the address that you have? And I believe you actually went and checked it out prior, right?
Last time.
Yeah.
We did.
Yes, we did.
All right.
Yes.
So the old stone townhouse where you saw the party preparations being made.
Let's do it.
All right. So you guys
I walk very awkwardly.
very awkwardly walk through
Me.
the central square and past the old district until you make your way into the House Dusk territories, where the stone grows just a shade darker, and eventually you make your way down the old brick roads to the townhouse that you now see is far more luxurious. It has seemingly 2 attendants standing in dark robes outside with red trim on, and people are milling about. There's not too many people here, and the people that you do see seem to be sort of butlers and servants and a few chefs mixed in amongst them. It seems as though the staff is very much arriving and getting things ready, but so far, the day is young, and you'd guess that as you make your way there, it's probably just about approaching midday. What would you like to do?
Well, I think we're a little early, right?
Just a
Yeah.
smidge.
They're not gonna let us in. I mean, maybe like 5 minutes early, but yeah.
Perhaps Connor, is there like a tavern or a cafe or some sort of diner that we could have an eye on the front of the townhouse?
Not so much like commercially. Around is very much so residential areas, but there are like benches by the side of the street, and there's plenty of shady tree and nook and alley which you could wait out in if you wanted to, essentially.
And people aren't milling in at this point, right?
Well, some of the staff are going in and out, yes, like carrying things
Staff,
up
okay.
and down this sort of like grandiose stone staircase, complete with awnings and whatnot. But in terms of like guests or any sort of fanfare, it doesn't seem to be so. Things seem to be in very much so a sort of practical, structural state at the moment.
For a bunch of magic users, they use a lot of manual labor to get things in and out. That seems that's just a point that I like to make.
Well, it demeans higher power, to simply move crates around with such abilities,
Don't you like fly for no reason when you cast spells?
Well, it's when I'm fighting. I don't just use it to get to the toilet quickly or something like that.
Why not?
I bet you would if you could.
I can barely control it. I go fly through the roof.
While Oz is chronicling his flights, you notice a figure in far grander robes with a downed hood, and you can see now that there's actually almost like a gold infleck into his dark grey robes, which are emblazoned with the sign of a red crescent moon, and he's making his way down the stone stairs and seems to be rather shortly barking orders at several of the people making arrangements, and you can see now that he clearly has some authority over this place, as instant deference is what you observe in the people that he turns to face. He looks to be a man probably in his late 40s, early 50s, with a very hawkish appearance and dark black hair just oiled and combed back over a thin, bony face, and generally speaking, this guy seems to be not treating his staff in a great way, as you notice several tuts and smirks as people turn to face away from him.
Looks important.
Wonder if he's high in House Dusk. And how high?
Well, perhaps he's the one throwing the party, so
it's his house.
Or he's just someone's, go-to man. You go do that. Perhaps. I don't know.
Or maybe he just went to the fancy clothes store and bought some fancy clothes, I guess. Started barking orders because he thought so. I don't know.
We should try that.
They
We
did
look
follow.
fancy.
They did follow those orders pretty rapidly, though.
Yeah. We should keep an eye on him, I think.
I feel like he's a point of interest, or the DM wouldn't have let us know about him.
Exactly, yeah.
Nice one,
I mean-
John.
Thanks.
He does look a little
metagaming.
scary. Not gonna lie. I mean, look at that. Look at his nose. It's just so long and pointy.
Well, perhaps we should just post up somewhere, keep an eye on things until it's time to go in.
Yeah, see if he does anything strange.
So you guys sit back on one of the benches on the other side of the street, and you form a fairly inconspicuous figure. There's all sorts milling about the streets at this time, and giving a wide berth to these party arrangements. There are a few crowds of people here and there watching, clearly sort of interested as to see if they'll spot any big names, perhaps, or just wanting to get a nosy at what's going on. But eventually, with a clanking and a sputtering sound emanating from the top of the street, you see a large mechanized carriage hauling something behind it pull into view, and the plumes of dark smoke and steam coming off this thing give it away long before you can actually see the carriage itself. It stops just a short way up the road, and you do see the small familiar figure of Sally, and actually the dwarven man you originally met with her, disembark from the front of the carriage. And they seem to be coordinating.
Running towards them.
As you sprint towards them, you see Sally turn towards you and take what appears to be bright green lens driving goggles of some sort off her face and go, "Oh, hey, why'd I know you'd be the most enthusiastic of all of them?"
I don't know what it is. It's just super, super cool. I've never seen it and I want to see it. Can I see it?
Yeah, you can take a look. And she kind of like gestures you round to the side of this sort of just like flat wooden trailer that this large mechanized vehicle is pulling, and she gestures on top of it, and you see now as the straps are being undone and the sheath being pulled off, the engine that you saw prior, this silver monstrosity of
Wow.
countless intricate and some not so intricate parts, all combined to make this absolutely, to your mind, confounding contraption. And this thing must stand as tall as yourself, but on top of this flatbed, and almost twice as long. It is a monstrous contraption.
This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
At this
I
point,
want one.
Sally looks up at you with a beaming grin and just goes, "Yeah, it's pretty neat. Really is the next step in things. My guys are just gonna take it around the back and load it into the viewing hall."
Can I go with it?
"Yeah, sure. I mean, you're gonna be in there most of the night guarding it anyway."
I will take the best care of this thing. No one will get near it. There will not be a fingerprint on it. I swear.
All right, that's a little scary, but okay. Well, my guys are gonna take the carriage round the back now, and I think they got big enough doors for this thing, I hope. And with this, you see some of the hired hands that hop down off the trailer, climb in the carriage, and start it up again. And with a huge sputtering, the wheels on this thing begin to turn as they appear to be sort of like reversing it backwards down a side street past the house.
I'm just sitting there like gobsmacked.
What would the rest of you like to do while Nyx is
I
witnessing
would be
this marvel?
following Nyx as she goes into the place, and I'd be trying to just kind of get an idea. Obviously, Zimmy is not able to understand the makeup of this.
No, this thing
but-
is even the mechanized carriage itself is a wonder to you, Zimmy. It's it doesn't seem to have anywhere near the sort of the beauty or the obvious care to detail that this large engine does, but this sputtering beast backs it up, and eventually they just slowly reverse to what seems to be almost like a goods and services entrance, where you now notice 4 of the hired hands reach out towards the engine, and slowly but surely, with almost a juttering grace, it lifts off the floor slightly and starts floating towards the goods entrance.
That's so cool.
So they do use magic to get things in every once in a while.
Well, maybe if it's particularly heavy.
Sally, that is a functioning engine, correct?
I sure hope so. Gonna be pretty embarrassed in a few hours if not.
What are you powering with that? How big is whatever you are supposed to be powering?
Well, that's the thing. We don't really know yet. It's more about the new technology than, well, about what that thing's gonna power.
So how is it different from the engines, say in Bricktown?
Oh, those
It-
things?
Explain it as if I have no concept of how they work.
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to do anyway. Don't worry.
Thanks.
So, the ones we sell to Bricktown, they tend to get some of the easier to use models. In fact, all the engines you'll have seen prior, they have these little compartments that you put your wood or you put your charcoal in to burn, and, well, it makes it go round. More or less. This one,
Okay.
it doesn't require anything. We got the techno sorcery down to the point where it runs on its own.
I
So-
can understand why you want this thing protected.
We don't just want to
That-
protect it because it's worth a lot, but it is, believe me. It's more to
So-
do with the fact that we're not quite sure what this thing could do yet.
So theoretically, this thing could power something indefinitely.
That's the plan. I mean, you might have to swap parts out, but no fuel source.
My eyes turn into money signs.
Tally seems to shoot you a very suspicious side eye.
So do I.
Yeah, I could. I would. That's yeah. I'm dumbfounded to know that there's no end. There's no power supply.
That's so cool.
Yeah, just need somebody to renew the enchantments every now and again, and it seems to run. Obviously, we
Okay.
need it much smaller than this old thing, but the technology's there.
You could theoretically power a city.
Power City to do what?
Well, anything.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, it's only going to put out a certain amount of force. You might need more than one to do a lot, but it's more about the future applications, you know?
So,
Yeah.
are you hoping to, like, speak to people about what they'd want to use it for, or what's the? You're showing it off, but then what?
Well, Sky College, you know, the old houses, and at this she kind of seems to roll her eyes slightly and wipe some sweat off her brow, and she goes, they ain't exactly the fondest of us. House Dusk kinda, well, there's a reason most of our grounds are outside the city walls. They don't really like us. They kind of see us as, I don't know, the new kids usurping tradition, maybe? But, we're hoping that this will make them respect us a little bit.
Fair.
If this does what you say it does, I can't imagine they can look the other way.
I mean, being realistic, in 50 years, Sky College should be the crowning jewel of this city. I think it's time for the old houses to maybe embrace that.
I would suggest maybe not saying that so close to this party.
Oh, don't worry. There's not so many people around me. I'm very aware of that.
Speaking of the other houses, we've been here a little bit, and we saw a man wearing a very ostentatious dark grey robe. Quite a senior man, like middle to late
Look
age.
like a birdie.
Yeah.
Hawkish would be the.
Yeah, real hawkish feller. Unfortunate nose on that one. That's Yaskier de Reese. He owns this place. He's a senior mage in House Dusk, I believe. He's throwing the party tonight.
And do you know what kind of a man he is?
I mean, he's in House Dusk, so I imagine he, likes to appear all sinister and spooky, but it takes all sorts. I've never met him myself, but he invited us along, and, we'll take any showing we can get. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure he's pretty important, though. I think a lot of the bigwigs are coming. I know both the other heads are meant to be here.
Both
Well,
the heads of the houses.
Yeah, I think old Lex is coming from the Scholar Society, and, well, I know High Steward Kairos is coming from Dawn.
Okay.
I was just wanting to ask, are there any other persons of interest we should be aware of at the ball?
Those are the main ones, really. I know old Lex, Erasmus Lex, he's a nice guy. The Scholar Society have always been far kinder to us, especially in our early days. They actually sold us some of their old ground outside the city at a very good rate. I think they actually believe in what we're doing. As for High Steward Kairos, well, people seem to like the guy. I've never met him myself.
You say Kairos over, I don't know if it's sacrilegious or something to say this, but over Melvar.
Well, that's their issue. I don't really get involved in any of that. I was here for some time, and nobody really talks about Melvar. I mean, obviously he's a legend around here, but I don't know. I think it's their business. Melvar's probably, secluded away. A lot of the older mages are these days.
Alex.
It seems bizarre that Melvar is still like, I mean, Connor, am I right in saying that the Black Blades still consider him
Yeah,
as the
so
head
Melvar
of,
publicly Melvar is still the head of House Dawn.
Yeah. I mean,
But he has not been seen in like 100 years.
yeah. So Sally, why is it that publicly Melvar is still seen as the house? I mean, I don't know if you'll know, but it seems bizarre to have a non-public public figure.
At this point, she looks up at you. All of a sudden, the mirth kind of fading from her face for a second before she reaches up and flicks a switch on the side of her headset. And you feel almost a strange heaviness to the air around you. And she looks up and goes, I don't know anything that really happens, alright? I tend to keep to my own studies, but look, I'm pretty old. Us gnomes live for some time, and I was in Astria before Kairos and guys like Doris started ruling the roost, and things were different here. That's when we got started, but nowadays things seem a lot more, I don't know, snooty, I guess. These younger guys, they really like the power. But also, don't be fooled by that. I say younger guys, but I know for a fact Doris is far older than he looks.
Right.
Maybe old enough to know where Melvar is.
Maybe, I mean, supposedly he's just cooped up in House Dawn's tower. My steward Kairos seems to run the day-to-day things, and he'll be here tonight, but, like I say, he seems fairly well liked. I've only ever heard mostly good things about him.
Okay.
Alright.
So where do you need us right now?
Oh, and she flicks the switch on her headset again, and you notice this strange feeling in the air recede suddenly.
What was that?
Ah! And she pretends to kind of not heard you, and she goes, you guys are going to be through here, and she gestures further into the goods entrance, where you can see now the engine has actually been, while you've been talking, levitated away and placed onto this large central plinth in this grand, not quite a grand hall, but almost as if like a rail house was empty. This large exhibition hall with the engine now on a central plinth, and she just goes,
It's central?
Yikes. I thought it was gonna be like against a wall.
In a
well,
corner.
I would say this hall isn't too large. The engine is in the middle, and there's probably space for about, I would say, 10 or 20 people to mill around comfortably. And she goes, you guys are going to be in here. This is the exhibition hall, they're calling it. The grand hall is through the double doors on the other side. That's where most of the entertainment and whatnot will be, but I imagine a fair few will want to come and have a look at the engine. We're going to start it up. It's not too noisy, don't worry, but people will come through and have a look. We're going to set up some red cordon, and nobody ever dares question the red cordon, so...
Well, if needs be, I have long arms. I will protect it.
Good. Because I sure don't.
And will you be around, or are you going into the grand hall?
Oh, I'll be mostly going in the grand hall and kind of inviting people to come have a look. I think a lot of them are going to want to see this.
All right. Well, how much time do we have to kill?
Well, I think people should really start arriving in an hour or so. I think it's meant to kick off in the afternoon.
No, let's wait around then, eh?
Yeah.
So at this point, we're still not in the presentation hall.
No, you're just outside the entrance to the presentation hall, which has these large sort of double doors that have swung open to allow goods of all sorts to make their way into the grand hall.
I'm not trying to like.
No,
Sneak in
go
or
ahead,
anything.
go ahead.
I want to like go.
I mean, there's a
into the
there's a
room.
constant stream of people taking stuff in and out. You could absolutely
So you
walk
can
in
go
and
in.
nobody would bat an
Okay.
eyelid, yeah.
Cool.
All right.
And you
I-
can see
I-
people even taking things through the exhibition hall into the grand hall as well.
Okay. I essentially just want to look around the room for anything
Sure.
that seems out of the ordinary.
So you walk in the exhibition hall as they're just kind of fastening the engine onto this central plinth, and looking around, it seems to be fairly plain, sort of in accordance with the outside of the townhouse. It's mostly just dark grey stone, and you can see now it's lit with these strange... Actually, Zimmy, you'd probably recognize them as like enchanted orbs, essentially, if you like think of them that way. Glowing orbs on the sides of the wall, which keep the room brightly lit as it is. Not naturally lit, actually. There's no windows in this back hall. Other than that, it just looks fairly standard. Polished wood floors and relatively high ceiling, which gives it a nice airy feel despite the otherwise gloom sort of presenting itself in the corners. But people seem too busy to kind of notice, and there's natural light bleeding in from the doors of the grand hall anyway.
If I were to clap really loudly, would it echo?
Would you like to try?
I kind of would.
Nyx loudly claps her hands before realizing that due to the amount of bodies and other things in the room, it does not echo.
Damn it. Gotta let
You'd
go.
think,
Sound dynamics, let's go.
wait, you'd think, with all these people here, this place would look a lot nicer, you know, for a nice ball that's going to happen, even if it's just a little offshoot room where we keep the engine. Seems kind of weird that, you know, they didn't do up the room a little more than this.
Well, maybe let's go have a look at the other. Oh.
Yeah, I'd be
I
quite
wanna see
keen
what
to check
that
out the
looks
grand ballroom.
All right, so you guys make your way through to the grand hall, and immediately your impressions, Derek, you cynical little shit, immediately change as you're met with beautiful polished wood floors and large, almost stained glass style muraled windows, which seem to be reaching up almost impossibly high. The ceiling is a large domed affair, seemingly hand-painted and depicting various mythological stories which you'd recognize, and all manner of expense has clearly been spent on this room. There are gold trims and gilded candlesticks everywhere. At the head of the room there sits a table horizontally in comparison to the long vertical tables that line the rest of it, and you can see now that this is clearly where the head will sit. It is a very gilded, ornate table, and there's even a speaker's lectern as well up there.
See, this is bad project management here. You see, they dumped all the money in this room and forgot to spend any on that one.
Do you want to go tell them that?
Nah.
So for what it's worth, I wouldn't have gone with them. I was planning on
Sure.
examining the plinth. Is
Sure.
that the word?
Yeah, I'm using the word plinth. I assume it's correct.
Okay.
What would you like to be examining it for?
I would just be like trying to examine that because the plinth was there.
Yes.
And they put the thing on it. Yeah. So I'm
Yes.
just like examining the edges, you know, like the edges where it meets the floor, kind of knocking on it, seeing if there's any weirdness afoot.
Okay, sure. Make me an investigation check.
Good old fashioned zero int or zero modifier int.
Zero. You now have
You're
zero.
dead. Yeah.
It's 16.
16. So, with further inspection of this plinth, which the engine is being placed upon, it does indeed seem to be made of solid stone, and you can't really see any particular discrepancies with it as you sort of examine the plinth itself. It appears to be a dark grey granite-like stone, quite coarse actually to the touch. As you look towards the bottom of the plinth, you do seem to see that it's sitting in some sort of slight recess in the floor, as though it may be a permanent feature, or as if the room is designed to accommodate this particular plinth. Other than that, though, you don't notice anything particularly afoot with it, and I would say that you did spend a few minutes and have a comprehensive check.
Cool.
Well, this room is something, isn't it?
I'm just like staring at the table at the front, at the top, and like.
Oh, I should ask: is there anyone sitting in the table yet? Sitting at the
head
rather?
table?
Yeah.
No. So amongst the longer, sort of almost like bench-style tables that run down the length of this hall, there are several members of seeming staff and sort of like waiters and whatnot. You see them polishing silverware and making sure everything's arranged properly. But the head table is already fully prepared, you can see, and lays empty.
Well, I bet
Or
that'd be a
sits
good
empty,
place
perhaps.
to become a spider dressed as. Got your name almost.
Don't
Steve?
say this, but
I'm whispering. It's fine.
yeah, I was. It's more how do I get there?
Are there, Connor, are there any sort of upper floors or balconies that look down, or is it just like a single floor?
Why, I'm glad you asked, Ozovax. Upon further inspection, on the opposite side of the hall to where you entered, so the other side of this hall, there is a staircase that leads off of it. However, the staircase goes into a covered form, if that makes sense. It's like its own corridor, so you cannot see what lies up it, but it does lead out of this grand hall. The grand hall itself is just the ground level and the walls and ceiling.
I'd like to go up that staircase.
You want to go up the staircase?
I
Are
would.
there any guards?
If there's no guy, if there's no one stopping me, it seems like everyone's rustling and bustling. I'm just gonna walk up the stairs.
We could just play dumb. Let's go.
There's to answer your question, there are no visible guards at the foot of the staircase. If you would like to, are you heading up it, Derek?
Yes.
So with
I'll
Derek
come with
leading the way, Derek and Nix, you guys stride up this staircase. It's a not particularly long stone staircase. You'd guess that you rise about 2 stories or so, until eventually you reach this large, dark oaken door bound with iron, and that's all there is. There appears to be a keyhole in there, with a large, heavy iron rung above it, presumably as a door handle. Shocking, I know.
Oh.
But
I'm gonna
yes,
bump him and be like, "Look through the keyhole."
I will look through the keyhole, and if I can, listen at the door, see if there's anyone on the other side.
okay. Make me
The classic D&D thing you do.
So first off, for perception, for looking through the keyhole, make me a perception roll.
That's crap. 6.
So you look
Crap.
through the keyhole, but it's very hard, kind of like angling yourself in this stone staircase, and you don't really see much other than what appears to be a carpeted floor beyond the door. And for listening, go on, make me another roll for listening. If your ears work better than your
That's
eyes.
better. 14.
14. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't hear anything.
Oh, good.
But I will say, like, it is dead silence that you hear. Nothing at all.
Yeah. I don't hear anything. I don't know. Should I knock?
I don't know. What is this? Like, is this worth doing now?
I mean, the only reason I went up the stairs is to figure out if there's like, alternate exits to this place. So, God forbid
Yes.
something did go on. I
Yes,
just
we-
want to know where people are going to be going.
Security sweep. I get it.
Security sweep.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, we could just try the handle and see if it opens. Just saying.
I'm going to knock.
Okay.
So,
Just for the record, I am not following. I'm still in the main hall.
Yeah, I'm.
For the
Yeah, I
record,
think I've
Zimmy is
stayed.
still
For the
in
record, this
presentation
is
hall.
yes, this is just Derek and Nix. on the
Yeah.
stairs. So sorry,
This is
what
too
are you doing?
curious.
I was arranging some stuff. Sorry, repeat what you're doing.
I knocked.
You're knocking. Okay, you knock on the door. Make a roll for knock knock. There is no response.
I try the handle.
All right.
I die. All right.
As you try the handle, I would like to make you to make a Constitution saving throw.
I figured.
Both of us?
Hey,
No, just
That's the best roll today. That's an 18.
An 18. Okay, you
Mm.
manage to whip your hand back as you grasp this. I'm sorry, I just do need to roll something here.
I figured.
So as soon as you reach out and touch the handle, it's almost like a flash of what can only be described as anti-light. It's like a sheen of darkness flashes over your hand, and thankfully you are focusing on it enough to whip your hand back before it fully runs over your hand. But you do take
What was that?
8 points of necrotic damage.
Oh.
And looking down at your hand afterwards, the end of 2 of your fingers have begun to blacken, almost as if charred.
What did you do? What happened? What was that?
I don't know, but I don't want to touch that door again.
No, don't. Aha, your fingers are black. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?
I mean, do they continue? Like, are they
They would
Are
appear
they-
to permanently be in this state.
great?
They are ever so slightly atrophied to view. And
Wonderful.
it is just, I would say, sort of from the first knuckle up on your index and your middle finger,
Yeah.
have this deathly black taint to them and ache with a dull pain.
Shit.
What do we do? Can we fix that?
I don't know. Maybe a Drastus can do something. I have no idea what
Let's go
this
find
is,
him. Let's go
and I
find him.
don't like it.
Okay.
Hopefully, it
let's
doesn't spread. Is my only problem. I like try to flick my fingers, see if I still have like dexterity, so to speak.
Well,
go. Okay, let's go. Let's go find a Drastus.
as
Maybe
you
he
try
can-
to move, they break it. No. As you try to
Thanks.
move your
Snap
2
off.
fingers, it is as though, you know the feeling you get when you sit awkwardly and your leg goes dead? It is as though you are losing the sensation of feeling in those 2 fingers. Which, hopefully not that it will be particularly relevant right now, but I will say you would have disadvantage were you to try and fight using that hand currently.
Guess I'm an offhand southpaw today.
Oh no.
Hold both swords in one hand and just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shock and awe at the same time. Stab.
go Darth Maul style, you'll be fine.
Yeah, there you go.
One in
yeah.
his teeth.
Yeah.
It's like Sith
Alright.
from Dark Souls.
Yeah, I need this. Does it look like it's spreading?
I mean, it looks
Make
like
me
you stuck your
Are you guys? Well, you guys are thoroughly examining it, so I will allow one of you to make a medicine check with advantage.
Mine's 1. What's yours?
I'm rolling.
Are you rolling?
No, one of you were making it with advantage. So Nix, you can roll it again and tell me what you.
Oh, I think John's rolling.
No, you're
Oh,
making it with
I rolled.
advantage.
You called it first.
Okay. Oh god, I rolled 8 twice.
Six.
Okay.
So 9.
9. It's
Yeah.
it's really hard to tell.
Okay.
It doesn't look great.
Alright,
It does
just-
not look good.
Just put it in your coat or something. Let's go find addresses. Come on.
Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah, let's not do whatever the hell that was. And yeah, we'll go downstairs trying to find my Healy friend.
Yes. All right. So we're gonna walk to you very sheepishly. Addresses.
So, Drastus, you see Nix and Derek walking towards you with Derek very conspicuously hiding his right hand in a sleeve.
What have you 2 idiots done?
He got something on him.
What?
Look.
You know your gem? I think I can one up you. Look, I turned black, and I have like I show him my fingers.
Can you fix that? Look at it.
What? Connor, would I have obviously being a druid, would I have any like knowledge of necrotic magic or anything like that?
No, you wouldn't be familiar with the kind of magic this is. You wouldn't even necessarily immediately recognize it as magic. I will allow you to make an Arcana check, though.
Okay, let's see. It's better than your rolls anyway. Arcana, that's a 15.
So as a 15, you can see that this... The thing that immediately jumps out as obvious to you is that there is no clear injury inflicted on Derek's hand. This isn't infection from a wound or anything. So you do assume it to be of some sort of magical origin. That's all I'll say.
Okay, right. Tell me what happened.
I touched the doorknob.
Someone didn't wash their hands beforehand. It seems. He just went black.
Obviously, the staircase leads to a door that
If
nobody
anybody
wants
makes the
opened.
obvious joke, you immediately get hit by a meteor. And that applies to all of you.
Right, so you touched a door handle, and now
This.
Now this. Can I pinch one of his fingers really hard and see if he feels it?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
you,
I just reach out and pinch one of his fingers.
you pinch the blackened part, which is cold to the touch of Derek's right index finger. Derek, you feel a very vague sensation there, but no semblance of pain or ordinary feeling, I should say.
Did you? I'm assuming that you can't. Oh,
Yeah, there's very little feeling there. It's it's
Oh.
tingly. That's about all I can say. I don't know. I don't know if I can hold a sword. This is not good.
Okay. I guess I'll try and cast Lesser Restoration and see if that does anything.
All right, could you send me the text of Lesser Restoration? I'll just read out Lesser
I
Restoration.
don't think it's going to work. For the record, it's you touch a creature and can end either one disease or one condition afflicting it. The condition can be blinded, deafened, paralyzed, or poisoned.
Okay, so you summon your healing reserves and you cast Lesser Restoration on Derek. Derek, the slight sore throat you had seems to clear up, but other than that, nothing in particular.
Ugh,
Okay.
that didn't work.
That's as good as I have right now. So we need to, do you have any gloves?
No. I mean, I have. Well, I don't know. What's in a burglar's pack?
Yeah, I'd say that you have some gloves in there. It's a
Fingerless
burglar's
gloves.
pack. Fingerless gloves.
Fingerless gloves. Yeah.
Well, he's almost fingerless. That's not gonna help.
Oh gosh.
Right.
Yeah, I got something I can throw on, I guess. but
John is adept at losing body parts in D&D.
Yep.
It is quite impressive.
ears and fingers, and no, it's gonna be great.
Put your gloves on, and we'll
Yeah.
fix this afterwards.
Yeah, I just
Just keep checking that it's not like
yeah,
going all the way down.
I'm gonna keep checking through the night because I
Just-
don't want this
If
to
it-
spread.
If it starts spreading, then you leave and find a healer.
Just get like an ink pen or quill or something and just like put a line.
While you
Yeah,
guys
that's
are
beyond
discussing
that.
this, well, seemingly some sort of house guard in the dark robes, similar to the ones that you saw outside, actually, standing by the staircase, approach you, and he just looks up and he goes, "Right, you worked one of these before?"
No.
Yes.
I love that happened.
All right, and
I have.
with this, he just,
hasn't.
without breaking his stride, he just turns to you next and just goes, "Right, well, you're in charge then, so I assume that you know, but I'll tell the rest of you. 1 hour before guests have arrived now, so if I could get you to surrender all weaponry or otherwise harmful articles, that would be magnificent."
Sure. Right here, you gonna carry it all, or should we go somewhere and hand it in?
With this, he kind of looks at you with a cocked eyebrow and goes, "I think I can carry it."
Okay. I'm gonna.
Start undoing my backpack.
So you guys, do any of
I
you
would
not
like to
hand over your weaponry?
try. I would like to try to hold a dagger if possible.
Okay, how would you like to hold the dagger?
I mean, conceal one.
Yeah, how would you like to
There's a
conceal it, John?
clench between John.
Yeah, I would try to like when I was putting it through my bag, right? Yeah. I guess I would just try to, shove it in a pocket or put it in my.
Okay,
boot.
make me a sleight of hand check for slipping a dagger into your
Something
boot
like
while you unpack your pack.
Sleight of left hand.
Sleight of left hand.
I'll allow you to not have disadvantage because you would be assumingly using your healthy hand.
Yeah, I used 16 there.
Okay, you managed to slip a dagger, just a regular dagger, from your pack
Yes,
into the boot, your left boot.
my left boot.
Lovely.
And I
And-
gave everything else over.
Everybody else handing everything over?
Yeah, I mean the only thing that because there's the arcane focus, the like arm bone that was sewn into
Mhm.
the jacket. So I haven't parted with that, but everything else, yes.
Okay. So you guys hand over all of your weaponry in its various forms, and he walks away with it bundled in his arms and seems pleased, and you see him disappear around a corner. And that's that.
Connor, I have a question.
Huh?
Are ball bearings a weapon?
If you throw them hard
Mayonnaise
enough,
is
yes.
So I will say, for the purposes of this grand ball, I will assume that you all basically surrendered the packs you had as well.
Yeah, I figured.
So I actually didn't. Well, I'm gonna assume that this guy also swept the presentation hall. I would have. I didn't actually bring anything
No,
other than
you're not with the party right now. You're in the
Yeah.
presentation hall, so
yeah. So I assume someone comes up to me. Does that happen?
it hasn't happened yet. But
Okay.
you
For what
could
it's
go and
worth.
find somebody if you'd like.
For what it's worth, I didn't actually bring any. I didn't bring my bow.
Okay.
I don't own any daggers. I only have my little satchel of accoutrements. My It's the other arc. It's not the.
Saying it
arcane
like that,
focus, it's
Justin,
the-
has made it sound like your makeup bag. So we're gonna need some clarification on.
I think the spell reagents is one. It's like a
Yeah,
bag
it's just a
of
sack of,
Regent-
like,
Regent
random
pouch.
trash.
Well, I will say, Zimmy, you do see these people coming in and out, but nobody approaches you. Nobody seems to approach you.
Cool. I'm just chilling by this engine thing, just watching it before the party even starts.
The only thing that concerns me about your hand, Derek, is what if you've been marked magically and the is it Darius?
Yaskier de Reese is the name of the man.
What if he knows what you've been snooping around? You know,
I
there's
honestly,
something to be aware of.
if somebody said something, I'd be like, "Listen, we're here to guard this. Like, this is why I went upstairs. I wasn't snooping for information or anything. I was just looking
for exits.
for exits in case
Yeah.
someone does get something going. We need to be able to chase them up and around. I need to know where things are going."
Well, is there maybe something to be said to be honest here and just speaking to someone and saying, "Look, I was looking around trying to identify, weak points, and I touched the door and this happened."
I can't see why not.
That might not be a bad shout.
My question is, should I take my black? It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to think. Maybe it looks a little better if I'm a black blade.
If you would have to wear that for the rest of the night, because
I think
You're right,
if we're
you're
apart,
right.
yeah,
You're right.
we have
I'm gonna-
Black Blade members with us, and
Yeah.
look
I'm gonna try to hail the guy who took all our stuff.
So you kind of follow him out the front entrance this time of the Grand Hall and just to a reception foyer where you can see there's been a room off to the side requisitioned as some sort of weaponry cloakroom where he appears to be storing all your guys' stuff. And he looks back and goes, "Don't worry, you'll get it back at the end of the night."
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just I'm a little concerned. This is my first time doing one of these, and I just wanted to kind of know where all the exits and stuff were in this area, just in case something ever happened to a cargo. So I went up this staircase just in here, and I knocked because I was trying to figure out where the door led. There's magic houses and all that jazz. I opened the door because I didn't hear anything, and this happened, and I'll take my glove off and show him my fingers.
So, sorry, I assume, Derek, this is just you talking to the guy in the cloakroom, correct?
Yeah, I
Okay.
just left.
So he sort of flinches back a little bit at it and goes, "Oh, well, the last two who got hit by this, they weren't so lucky. I'd count you quite fortunate, my curious little friend. I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to stay just here, though." And he gestures to in the cloakroom.
Sure.
So you walk past him into this cramped cloakroom full of bags and odd weaponry of all sorts.
I'm so fucked. Like,
And
I'm
he
gonna
closes the door as he leaves, and you hear a locking
where are
sound.
we?
You guys
Where
are just
are
in
we?
the main hall still, I assume.
Didn't we go with him?
Nope.
Nope,
No, I
not
don't- I
that
don't-
not that you said so.
No.
So,
Shit.
Derek, you hear a locking noise as he leaves the room.
Yeah, I figured. Derek's dead, man.
After
He's never
s-
coming out of this close room.
And that's the end of Derek. So, to the rest of that, after not too long, it felt like an eternity, but in reality, probably only 60 seconds or so have passed. The door unlocks again, and it swings open, revealing the hawkish figure of Yaske Delvis. And he looks in at you and goes, "What snooping, then?"
Honestly, it wasn't snooping. You could call it whatever you want. I'm here to protect Sally Zengen, and I needed to make sure that I knew this building inside and out. So I knocked. There was no answer. Door. Tried it. This happened.
The harsh face remains completely impassive, and he simply says, "Where is this Engen located?
It's located in the room just off the Grand Hall.
And tell me, where did you sustain this injury?
Staircase in the Grand Hall.
And so what led you up that staircase if you were protecting something in the exhibition hall?"
They're connected. I need to know all exits. If someone runs into the Great Hall and then I lose them in the Great Hall, I'm going to check every avenue.
Were you chasing somebody in the Great Hall?
No, I was.
And do you not trust me
checking
to
the
have my
area.
own security in my own house?
I completely understand that, but I'm just saying, I don't know your house. and I don't feel like I can just walk up to someone looking like.
Yet you strangely
amazingly
feel
good
as
like
though you may walk up anywhere and attempt to access people's private office.
If I knew it was your office, I wouldn't have tried the door.
Well, it's nice that you feel so comfortable in strangers' homes. I'd count yourself fortunate. Let that remain as a mark of your insolence.
Really? You're gonna leave me like this?
I'd
I
consider
can't
it.
do my job to Sally if I have a hurt hand.
Well, would you like me to locate Sally and inform her that you'll no longer be in her employ?
No, I just don't understand you. It was an accident. I wasn't trying to snoop. I don't care what's in your office. I'm just trying to figure out how the hell do I make myself feel better? Because I can't feel my fingers.
It doesn't seem as though those two things are particularly linked. It feels as though you were trying to find access to somewhere that you knew you shouldn't be.
You can believe whatever you want, but I know I know my morals. Regardless of what you think they are.
Very well. And with this, he turns on his heel and begins walking away.
I try to leave the room.
Yeah, he seems to be storming off back out the front. And you appear to be free to do whatever you want.
I knock over something in the room before I leave.
So petty.
You knock a particularly expensive-looking vase off of its plinth, and wordlessly, a servant appears out of almost nowhere to rush over and collect the shards as you storm off. Presumably back to the grand hall.
Rest of them? Yeah.
I must
Well,
say the
how'd
crown
it go?
molding in the Grand Hall is just lovely.
How did you know about crown molding?
Whoa!
Don't you live in a giant tree?
No! What gives you that impression?
Isn't that your capital?
Well, there's a giant tree in the capital, but we don't all live in it.
Oh, I've grossly misunderstood the.
Yes, now you
guys.
look like the ignorant savage.
I believe it was the coin naive simpleton.
Well, that works as well.
Do we see Derek?
Yeah, you see a storm cloud brewing over Derek as he broods his way back towards you.
Doesn't look like that
Oh.
went well. What happened?
How you doing, buddy?
I just show my hand to them and say, not any better. Turns out that guy, it was his office. Of course, he's going to have some type of trap on it.
Yeah.
And he
Not
wouldn't
like-
take it awful. Did he? Did
Nah,
he say
he,
he was going to
he
kill
called
you?
me some insolent bugger and didn't want me to, it was a mock of the pettiness that I am or something stupid. Let's just finish this job and get out of here.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. Well, Dawn and Dusk probably. Well, they hate each other, so theoretically, there's probably a mage in Dawn who would find you trying to break into that office quite funny.
It's funny that people keep saying that I was trying to break into that office.
No, okay, checking.
My
for-
past behind me, I really wasn't trying to break in.
Okay. My point is, it might go down better if you're talking to a mage from Dawn.
Yeah, no, I get that.
We can go to Master Alex afterwards. Magister Alex.
Yeah.
Maybe he can fix you.
I hope so.
Yeah. So just glove on. Pull up your big boy pants. Let's go protect an engine.
Let's do it.
Poor Derek.
Poor Derek.
Derek's pissed.
Yeah, I feel bad for him.
All
now.
John's characters have some sort of mutilation.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
tradition at this point, right? Look, I gave you guys the boomstick. If one of you isn't going to blow a part off John, I'll do it myself.
We've had it for like one episode.
I can't wait to first use it. Like I'm gonna if I can't use my hand, I'm gonna left hand shoot it across my arm, and I'm gonna
God.
roll a natural one and blow my face off. I can already imagine.
Derek's holding it the wrong way around.
Spoilers.
Yeah. But yeah, Derek's gonna be a little broody and not happy.
So you guys gonna go brood in the Engen exhibition hall?
Yeah.
All right. So you guys go back and you
Zimmy?
kind of you find Zimmy back in the exhibition hall,
Yeah, there he is.
seemingly just peering over the plinth for the 40th time. Zimmy, what are you doing?
I have legit just been watching the people who come in and out, making sure no one else
So,
approaches.
Zimmy, what you've actually witnessed in this time is you've been kind of keeping an eye on just the comings and goings through the goods entrance is several people coming and interacting with the Engen from Sky College and seemingly just laying a hand on it and muttering a few incantations and heading off. Nothing seems to have changed too much at this point, but there is not a constant stream, but a regular slew of people coming up and doing something to the Engen of some sort.
And I know they're from Sky College.
Yeah, well, you assume so. They are dressed very similarly to Sally, with sort of like almost like dirty overalls and very practical smithing and engineering gear on, which is in stark contrast with the tuxedos and the dress shirts of the help that are around.
So, for all of the people who came, I would attempt to remember a distinguishing feature if they had one.
Okay,
Just in case.
sure. I would say there's like 5 or 6. I won't list them off for the sake of brevity, but
Yeah.
you would recognize any of them again, I would say.
Cool.
So what's been happening over here, Zimmy?
I've been doing my job, watching this thing.
1 out of 5, doing the job.
And I've already gotten burned for it.
You got burned? What?
Oh, it's
Yeah,
not. Don't worry.
I'm over it. All right, let's just get this figured out. I'll tell you later.
Are you over it? Are you sure?
No, I'm not over it. God, I could go on forever. But I'm not going to, for the sake of this episode.
Don't raise your voice, Derek.
Do we need to switch you and Zimmy out?
No.
Okay.
Zimmy, I would not do a great job talking to people. One, I don't get respect as is. Two,
I don't get no respect.
Person.
Real Zimmy sad
no
hours.
respect.
It's gonna be the
Friggin'
sad episode.
The House Dawn man, you just talk down to me. That's still stuck with Zimmy.
Shame.
My people know how to use magic. We're not simpletons. Everybody's mean to me.
Says the man whose surname is the tallest. Yeah.
It's not a surname.
It's a title.
It's a title.
It's a title.
Actually, it's an epithet. I think you're right.
Aren't titles epithets though?
Not necessarily. No, title is like a given title kind of thing. It's like Mr. is a title, but it is not an epithet. The tallest is an epithet, but it is not a title.
English 101.
Well, there we go.
There you go. Classics.
I even had it written down. Tallest is a title. I have to change that now.
Damn it. Well,
Yeah, just gonna wait around, I guess.
All right, so you
Sorry
guys just
about your hair,
gonna
Derek.
sort of like post up and spend the hour waiting.
I'm gonna go back and look at the back into the grand hall and.
Another chance on the doorknob? May I
No.
interest you in a doorknob?
You know what? Now that you say that, my left hand feels a little numb.
How far is it from the grand hall in like up to the top table?
It's from the entrance to the grand hall.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, not a huge amount, but you would guess that in a row on these vertical long tables, there's probably seating for 20 or 30 guests on each side.
Okay. I just kind of look around, and I think I'd go ask one of the guards where the bathroom is as well.
All
All
right.
So you go up and you ask one of the house stewards, who's a youngish looking man, where the bathroom is, and he simply looks down at you and replies, I think the help can use a bathroom just off the kitchens. I believe they're to the left of the entrance. And he gestures just past the corner that you saw Derek go around before he came back quite grumpy.
Questions Connor never thought he'd have to answer in a D&D game.
Where's the bathroom? Welcome to
thank you very
Black
much.
Blades, a narrative campaign based on...
Yeah, I just walk back to
Okay.
the rest of the group.
Brilliant.
I've got. If I'm turning into a spider, I've got a plan
All right,
somewhere where I'm
okay,
going
no,
to turn
okay,
into
no,
a spider.
fair enough.
You could have just gone inside or something.
Go into the and change.
Yeah, we're
I'm
just gonna.
thinking of plans, guys.
Yeah, so did I.
So, as time whiles away and you see more and more people filing in, and eventually things start to quieten down almost as there's less supplies and whatnot being brought through the goods entrance in the exhibition hall into the grand hall. I'd say about 45 or 50 minutes passes, and it gets to the time when guests should be arriving. And Derek, I'd like you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, for God, man! Come on! Oh, that's a 9.
So you feel a stab of pain emanate through your right arm. What would you like to do?
I'd like to look at my arm.
All right, so you pull up the sleeve and look at your arm, and while there's no visible progression from your hands, fingers, and their odd blackened char-like effect, what you can see is that the veins are darkening in your hand and wrist running up your arm, taking on almost a greyish tinge that seems to emanate illy through your skin. Yes, illy is a word, I just made it up.
It's a good one.
Thanks.
Derek, you okay?
No, my arm is something wrong. I get my just look, and I'll show them my veins.
You all notice the
Oh.
greyish tint running up Derek's veins.
Whatever it was must
Seems
have
to
been
stop
strong
about-
enough.
Halfway up his forearm also.
It's spreading. It has to be. Whatever the hell this is. I'm worried. I'm not gonna
looks-
lie. I don't want to
looks-
die this way.
Pretty gross. Maybe we should go to
And
Magister
I mean,
Alex.
I don't think we can leave. It's 10 minutes till showtime.
Well, just keep us up to date on it, Derek. If it gets too bad, maybe you dip out and.
I
try
think
to
if it
find
gets to your shoulder, then you need to leave.
It gets
We
up to
should go
shoulder.
now. It's
You should pick a
spreading.
good tourniquet location, right?
That's actually not a bad idea.
Perhaps we just chop the arm off with the shoulder down.
Genuine
I can't
question.
wait.
Are
I
you a
can't
lefty
wait.
or a righty, Derek?
I
can't
am a
remember.
righty. Derek's a righty.
Might want to practice with your left hand for a bit.
I mean, he's pretty
Yeah.
ambidextrous with fighting.
Yeah, like, I dual wield, but yeah, I write with my right hand. Yeah, I don't know. Someone's close, knows magic. Is Sally around? Maybe, I
Maybe
don't
we
know.
can
She
ask her, yeah.
something. If not, I might have to go back to Hell's Dawn. This is getting worse. I can tell you that.
Do you
Right.
want me to come with you? We can go see if Sally's.
I don't think we can all leave, unfortunately.
No. Just like.
You
Maybe
guys
you
need to
should
make
go.
us some money. So, yeah, is Sally around? Have I seen her in the last 45
You've seen her
minutes?
milling about the Grand Hall and going to and forth. You could presumably... you would imagine that if you went to the Grand Hall, you wouldn't find it too hard to find Sally.
Since I had such a hard time last time, can someone go get Sally for me?
I'll go.
All right.
Yeah, so I'll
Anybody
walk
going
into-
with the Justice or just the Justice?
He's gonna come back with a bum leg.
Just the Justice.
I tried to kick the door down.
So, Justice, when you head into the Grand Hall and close the doors to the exhibition hall, you do notice immediately that Sally is on the opposite end of the room near the entrance, and she's actually walking with a figure beside her that she appears to be talking to. Now, this figure is dressed in gleaming robes of white trimmed with gold and the sign of a sun emblazoned on the chest, and appears to be wearing a silver circlet with some sort of green gem at the center. He's a young man, looking far younger than Yasuke, and he has closely cropped brown hair in sort of like messy tangles falling as a sort of fringe, and all in all, he is what could be described as a handsome man. He has the airs of a young handsome prince about him as he walks in a most regal fashion next to Sally, who is her usual animated self and talking primarily through use of her hands. But the two seem embroiled in quite a jovial, friendly discussion from a distance, although you are too far to hear what they're saying.
Okay. I think I would just walk up and wait until there's a break in the conversation.
So you kind of walk beside them and wait for a natural break, although you are standing quite awkwardly staring at them, and eventually the two find a natural pause in their conversation, and Sally looks up towards you and goes, "Oh, hi, Adrastus. I'm a little preoccupied right now." And at this, the man gestures with a hand and goes, No, don't be foolish on my behalf. Who's your friend? Please, introduce me." And he looks up expectantly at you, Adrastus.
Oh, hello, sir. I'm Adrastus Tellerman. I'm in the employ of Sally tonight, helping to guard the Engin.
Oh.
And I'll extend my hand.
He grasps your hand very firmly and shakes it and stares you in the eyes with these light blue eyes, and you see a look of sincerity in his eyes. He goes, "Tellerman is a old Uskin name, is it not?"
It is. I'm surprised you know this.
Oh, I'm well read on my histories. Now, my name is High Steward Kairos of House Dawn. It's a pleasure, truly. And with this, he releases your hand and it falls back to his side.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Kairos. Sully, there has been a situation, not with the Engin, but with Derek.
And at this, you see eyebrows raised on both accounts. And Kairos looks down and goes, "Derek is another one of your employees, I presume." And Sally looks up with a slightly quizzical look in her eyes and goes, "Yeah, he is. What's gone on with him?"
So I'll gesture to the stairs at the back of the room. So Derek and Nyx were sweeping the room trying to see where exits and things were. And
when you say that, you notice what can be described as a wry smile just crack on both people you're speaking to.
And I don't know if you registered or not, but Derek is not the most forward-thinking of fellows sometimes. So there was a closed door, and he immediately tried to open it.
Yeah, that's what happened.
And now it seems like the arm he touched the door knob with is dying.
And at this, Kairos takes a step forward and places a hand on your shoulder and just says, "Lead me to where he is. I will be able to help him. House Dusk are, what can I say, dramatic at the best of times. Forgive Yasuke, he's an old friend of mine, but he's a stern man. I should be able to fix this and hopefully keep things discreet. Please lead the way."
Thank you. I believe Derek spoke to Yasuke, and Yasuke told him it was a lesson he would learn, and
yes,
stormed out.
That does sound like Yasuke. He's like I say, he's a stern man, but...
Okay. And thank you, and I'm terribly sorry for interrupting your conversation, but...
No, I was on my way to view the Engin anyway, so... think of it as a shortcut. Yes, quite.
And I'll hurriedly walk out.
So Sally remains in the Great Hall while Kairos strides behind you, and eventually you see the rest of the party. You see Adrastus emerge back into the exhibition hall, followed by this regal figure dressed in white and gold robes with his shining circlet upon his head. And he looks almost panic-stricken as he glances around the room. And you hear a voice emanate from behind Adrastus saying, "Now, which one of you fine folk is Derek?"
I raise my left hand.
And at this, wordlessly, Kairos strides up to you and he simply reaches out with a hand and places it on your chest, mumbles a few words, and as soon as he does this, you feel a coursing surge of energy through you. And with quite a sharp pain, it's almost as though you feel whatever this is, the malevolence itself, burn itself out of your right arm. He goes, "You should be okay now. I can only apologize for our host's ill manners. He takes drastic measures sometimes."
I don't know. Is it like, if I look at it, has it gotten visibly better?
So if you look down at it, the graying of the veins and the spread of this odd corruption has receded and appears to have disappeared. However, the two forefront fingers of your right hand remain tainted black, almost as though the skin themselves is dead. But you have regained use of them, and normal feelings seems to be present.
I'm like tapping them to my thumb. I'm like, I don't. Again, I didn't do it because I was trying to snoop. Thank you. This is amazing. Thank you.
And at this, he looks up and he goes, "Don't worry, I don't really need to know the reasoning. This is Astria. Everybody's got a plan. Just know that you're safe now, although..." And he lightly raises your 2 fingers with his hand as he's looking at them. And he goes, This may remain as a rather unfortunate souvenir."
Yeah, that's what he said too.
Well, a story to tell, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe I fought like a big dragon or something.
But it's certainly more interesting than you got done in by a doorknob.
Eric lets out a chuckle.
Fancy you should mention dragons.
And at this, Kairos's attention seems to turn to the large silver engine on the plinth, and he goes, "So this is what all the fuss is about. It is somewhat magnificent, is it not?"
It's so pretty. Look, it does things.
If you want to wax lyrical, then Nyx is your woman.
He turns to you, Nyx, and you get this intense gaze meet your eyes, and he goes, "You had a hand in its creation, perhaps?"
No, I just like it, and I'm looking after it. I'm also one of Sally's employees.
Ah,
Yeah.
you're all hired hands, I assume,
Yeah.
for guarding this. I see some of you bear the insignia of the Sentinels. She has
Yes.
been finding high-quality bodyguards, I must say.
Well, thank you.
Oh yeah, right.
And with this, he takes a step towards the engine and reaches out with a hand to lay his hand on it.
Don't touch it, please. Don't touch it. It does things. I'm not entirely sure what, but it might hurt you.
And for the first time, you see his expression darken slightly as he turns back to you next and goes, "I should be fine. I put faith in myself," and continues to reach
What?
out towards it.
What's Sally's expression like?
She's not in the
She's
room.
not
Sally's
here.
not there.
Oh, she didn't follow us. Oh.
You actually aren't allowed to touch it, I'm afraid.
I'm gonna
Sally's
say-
rules, I'm afraid.
I'm going to send a message to Adrastus. Should I punch him?
Jesus.
You just see me frantically shaking my
Sounds like a
head.
terrible idea.
I believe you can answer a message, can't you?
Yes, you can, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, that is the last thing you should do. Do not punch this man, please.
Okay. Alright.
But maybe lower his hand? I don't know.
Sir, would you mind not touching it?
With a
Pretty
glance between Ozavax and back to you, Nyx, he takes a dramatic step backwards with a slight dip in his step, and he goes, "Of course, my manners. I apologize. You wouldn't be doing your job had you let me laid hands on such a fine creation."
Thank you for understanding. Perhaps if Sally were here, she would, overrule us. So if you'd like to fiddle, feel free.
Of
If
course.
Sally's here.
I should have waited for our esteemed professor from Sky College to have been here. I apologize. However, I shall return later in the evening, and I would appreciate a closer look at such a miraculous step forward for the city of Astria.
If Sally
Look forward
deems
to
it
it.
appropriate, then that is fine.
You seem admirably loyal to your new employer. Now, if I may ask a personal question, but as I say, this is Astria, and details rarely get left out. What is it that a group of sentinels and their... And he gestures towards the actual sentinel members of the party, their entourage, or perhaps mercenaries. What is it that you find yourselves in Astria for?
Oz still has his badge on, doesn't he?
I do.
I believe
Yeah,
Ozavax, Zimmy, and Nyx are currently wearing badges, yes.
So when you say that he looked at the actual members, are you saying the ones who have the pins on them?
Yes, the ones who are displaying themselves as
Visibly.
sentinels, yes.
Okay.
Well, we've been traveling for a while and have found ourselves low on coin, so we've just taken a bit of work to earn our passage.
Make me a deception check.
Oh, you bitch! I'm pretty good at that, actually.
That was pretty convincing.
He recoils at being called a bitch. You've been hit by a fireball.
I got an 11.
So with this, you notice a slightly cocked smile barely hidden on his face, and he goes, "Of course. Astria are a unusual choice for finding work, but understandable, I suppose. Forgive me, we simply get few outsiders so boldly visit our city."
How about that?
Hmm.
I'm kind of deliberately being a bit close-mouthed.
Of course.
He notices this and fixes you with an amused look. Not quite a glare, not quite a smile. Somewhere in between.
They picked us up in Bricktown and decided that they could do with some extra help, and hence why we're here as well.
Sally picked you up in Bricktown?
No, the 3 Sentinels here.
Oh, of course, forgive me. So, why were you traveling to Astria then? It's
I wasn't traveling in Astria, I was just looking for work.
unusual work to accept Bricktown to Astria. That's quite the journey.
Well, you said yourself, I'm from Uskia. I tend to like to travel to different places, and Astria's one of the few places I've not been to.
Yes. I would like to visit Uskia someday. I haven't been in many years.
I mean, I've not been back for several years now, but when I left, it was still in my mind the most beautiful city.
Yes, Uskia itself is quite the capital. That's where I visited. Anyway, I've taken enough of your time. I must go and be ready to welcome our esteemed guests.
Thank you for fixing him.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
Thank you so much, Kairos.
quite all right. If I may offer a piece of perhaps unsolicited, albeit perhaps obvious advice, Derek, I would perhaps recommend avoiding Yasuke. I promise he is a good man, but he doesn't half hold a grudge.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Unnecessary, but we fixed it, so it's okay. Oh well. With this, he
Goodbye.
actually walks past you all and walks out the goods exit or entrance. It appears to be wheeling around to the front of the house.
Once I think he's good and out of earshot, I would turn to Derek and be like, he said his name was Kairos, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
Yes.
Yes. It should do.
Yeah.
Keep thinking, Zimi.
Mm-hmm.
Put it all together.
Zimmy, you think it's not very effective.
Got this. Don't hurt yourself.
It's familiar, but I can't remember.
No.
Okay. Well, why don't you just stay focused on the plinth for now, and we'll put the pieces together, okay?
So, are you guys
Sure,
gonna
Mr.
go
Mercenary Man.
wander about mill and stuff? Zimmy and I can take care of the engine.
Nas.
And me, yes. I just want to say, I did not like that Kairos fella one bit. I think he is the one to watch out for.
It's because you
Well-
can't lie, Oz.
No, look, the thing is, with someone like Derice, right? He seems like a bit of a bastard. But you know where you stand with someone like that. You know, Kairos being really nice and then asking us all these personal questions. Why are we here? It's not just idle curiosity.
I mean,
You know,
they're kind of valid questions if you think about it.
I agree, but he is also, I mean, we've literally come up to him to say he's also the head of one of the houses, and he's literally known us for 2 minutes, and the first thing he knows is one of our companions has tried to open a sealed door and now might lose his arm. I think questions are warranted.
I get that, but he's just been a bit too friendly. And Magister Alex did say to us that it's the upper levels of the House
no,
of Dawn that are responsible for Malvar's imprisonment.
I agree.
They are, to me, a bit of a snake in the grass, I think.
Well, he also described Yaskir as a close friend, so
That's true, yes.
it could be a multiple house involvement type situation.
I just didn't like him. Didn't like him one bit.
I mean, I can't repay him for this, but at least, yeah, I kind of got the same feeling from him. Other than the fact he fixed my hand, feels real good now.
I don't know.
If
I
you
thought
were
he
in
was
my
quite
village-
charming.
Your new name would be Derek Blackfingers.
Oh, well, it's not the worst name. Could be worse than the shortest or something.
It does sound quite menacing, doesn't it?
The shortest is well respected in my tribe.
Oh,
One of
Why-
the
why?
most powerful shamans.
So can you be the
Ah.
shortest and the tallest?
oh.
What? No.
What happens if you're the tallest and then do something that makes you the shortest?
Well, then you would obviously lose the tallest title.
Why
wouldn't
can't you hold
Thank
both
you,
titles?
Ozafex. These weird ape creatures have no idea what intelligence is.
No, they talk down to us like we're uncivilized
Oh
savages. They're
no,
a
the
bunch of
revolt's beginning.
All right, we
Precisely.
just be
I
quiet.
think we're
We've got a
getting
job to
off
do.
topic.
Yes.
Scaly overlords.
Goodness me.
I'm just saying, maybe the Cerulean Dawn ain't so bad.
Excuse me.
I jest.
Oz, are you still itchy? Is that what's making you feel
No,
funny?
No, don't worry.
So here's the plan, right? You're gonna go and mingle. You're gonna bring us some appetizers, please. The little sausages with the thingies on the end. That'd be great. The little cocktail doggies, yes. Bring those back for us, and then let's find out what we need to find out, and we'll keep eye on this lovely piece of machinery.
So, as Nyx is fawning over the machinery, you hear the beginning of a seemingly like string quartet strike up from the Grand Hall as there's a certain level of hubbub increasing in there. But we'll take a short break there so we can all go and refresh and grab a drink and go to the loo and whatnot, and then we'll reconvene as House Dusk's ball begins. Are we ready? Are we good? Are we Gucci?
Ready.
You
Are
just
we
cue
gang?
back in on fuck you guys.
I mean, that's probably what I will
It'll pretty
do.
much be the standard, like.
You say that
D&D
like I
welcome
could,
back.
you know I'm going to. But yes, anyway, hello everyone listening. Fuck you as well. But welcome back to Black Blades, the only campaign which will tell you to go fuck yourself. There was a conversation behind that, I promise you. But anyway, hello, welcome back to House Dusk's Ball. We are with the party in the exhibition hall as they guard the Engen, Derek having just been greatly restored, you could say, from his ailment. So, what would you all like to do as you hear a band strike up and the noises of guests begin to pour in? You hear the clinking of wine bottles and glasses being filled and the shuffling of chairs and tables as seemingly the party has begun.
Well, I think that's Derek and Adrostus's cue to schmooze away.
Are they
Happy
eating,
schmoozing.
or is it a drinking type fest?
In the
Is it
exhibition
a s-
hall?
Yeah,
No,
is it a sit-down meal?
Oh,
No.
in the Grand Hall?
Yeah, the Grand Hall.
You would assume so from what you saw being laid out.
I don't think it's schmoozing when people are eating, guys.
However, I will say you can hear people walking around and very much so schmoozing. So it would appear as though the meal portion of the night has not begun.
Right. Okay.
You hear the audible voraciousness of schmooze emanate from the Grand Hall.
Right. I will. I think we'll save the spiders shenanigans for when the meal commences. Derek, should we? You might want to put your gloves back on, but.
Yeah. And I'll I'm all sad, right? I'm all sad. And then I'm just like and then I just like wipe my face and I go, "Yes, let's do it."
Please.
I can put on a face whenever I need to.
Where's this guy been?
Yeah, telling you.
This was
I'm
pre-Black
scared.
Hand Derek.
Derek Blackhand does sound pretty cool, though. Not gonna lie.
Didn't we have some?
But it's only fingers.
Yeah, the
That's
dwarf.
true. He's right. Yeah.
Oh, maybe we should have let it go a little bit longer because Blackhand sounds a lot better. Anyway, go
Anyway,
schmooze.
let's. Yeah,
We're
come on, Derek.
schmoozing. Oh, this music is kicking right now.
All right, Adrastus and Derek, you make your way into the Grand Hall, and you do see indeed that there is a cacophony of guests milling around as the night's libations seem to have begun. There's a lot of wine being passed around in different groups, and different sort of figures appear to be sort of moving almost with their entourages. What would you like to do?
What's the level of sobriety at this point?
Well, I mean, the night is young.
Just
It does seem
Rocked
to
up
be-
drunk. Woohoo!
Seem to be reasonable. However, there are certainly a few guests already enjoying the host's generosity, we'll say.
I'll try to find those people.
There's a group of them very close to you, in fact, and actually, as you go over, they seem to be sort of drunkenly boasting of each other's feats when it comes to all manner of magical affair, and they seem to be currently arguing over the semantics of some paper on some topic you've never heard of. Not quite at shoving, but perhaps not far from it. All of these three chaps are dressed in the robes of House Dusk, I should say.
I grimace.
Are there any people? Do I see Kairos and his people walking around anywhere?
So Kairos appears to have taken one of the seats at the head table in the hall, and there appears to almost be a queue of people waiting to go up and speak to him.
Okay. Is Yaskia, is he on that table as well, or is he wandering around?
Yasuke is not on that table, and from a quick glance around, you don't appear to see him.
Okay. Derek, I'm gonna go find some food or maybe some wine for the rest of the party. You stay here for a couple minutes, okay?
Yeah, no problem. I'll get to know these wonderful people, and I'll pat one of them on the back. So I joined their circle, or their wherever they're standing.
As you pat this guy on the back, he turns to you, and you realize that this guy, he's a young halfling. He can't be older than... He looks about 18 or 19, and as he swivels his ruddy face round to meet yours, he goes, "Hey, who are you calling your friend? I don't think I know you."
That's true, but hey, my name's Derek. How you doing?
Hi, Derek.
And
how
now you
doing?
know me.
My name's David.
Hi, David. How you doing?
And these people are Reese and Kyle. And Reese and Kyle don't believe that if you calibrate the magnesium orbs in the Astromeda pattern, they say that you won't get any fibrillation. We're a couple of fucking idiots! And this, he kind of careens off and sits down on one of the benches, a little bleary-faced.
What's up with David? Eh? He's a little. He's got a little too much sauce going, or what? Huh?
His two friends turn to face you. This go. He's been like this all day.
They're just fucking. I love it.
Neither of us even drink. I can only apologize.
He's drinking for you, then, eh?
Something like that. He's had a
Is it,
few too many.
Is it normal for House Dusk to get this rowdy, or is it just David?
Just David.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He'll be all right.
So what's the deal here? Like, I'm sorry. My name's Derek. I just, this is my first time here. We're doing some work in the back here. I've never been here. You know, what's up? You know, what's the news?
And at this, the elven figure who you take to be Reese cocks an eyebrow at you with his freckled face and ginger hair. He doesn't seem to be too old, but with elves it's hard to tell. And he looks towards you and he just goes, "I'm not sure much is really up. Is this your first time at a ball, perhaps?"
Yeah, I've been to a few, but never this white tie.
And what are you doing here?
I'm here. We're doing some work. And I just got off my break.
Sorry,
looking after the,
sorry. Is it normal for the help to talk to the guests where you work, typically?
Yeah. Welcome to Bricktown.
Oh, Bricktown, I've heard of there. Is it true you're all miners and all dirty?
I don't look that dirty, do I?
You do a bit.
Oh, well. Sometimes that happens.
Oh boy.
Put a hard day's work in, you know?
No, I tend to avoid those.
Hmm. Well, I'm getting nowhere here. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Yes, you too. Bye.
Bye. No,
As you turn away, you just hear, "My God."
Jesus Christ.
yeah, I'm just gonna try to, I don't know. I'm just gonna try to kind of walk through the hall,
Be shady.
trying to eavesdrop if possible.
Yeah, have I been successful kind of? So what I would have been doing as that was going on was like trying to find if there's any small platters of food, but also listening to people as I was walking past them.
I mean, there's plenty of platters of food and sort of cocktails and whatnot being ported around by the help, but nothing in particular. One thing that does catch your ear, however, is you scoop by a more eccentric-looking man who hasn't really necessarily not abided by the dress code, but he's certainly implied his own liberal interpretation of it. He appears to be in somewhat of a patchwork robe and a long dusty cloak. And he seems to have stuffed all manner of bizarre parchments and notes in several odd pockets on this cloak and robe, and he seems quite popular. There's a entourage of 4 or 5 around him that seem to be squirreling him and asking him questions, and from what you can glean, they're asking him rather mundane-sounding questions as to the nature of the building and asking him to describe who people are at a glance, all of which he seems to be doing remarkably fluently. He's an older man, perhaps too hard to age even, maybe 80 or 90 by our standards, but he walks with the stride of a healthy person, and yeah, he just seems to be commanding his own little bubble around this room.
But he's been able to answer all those questions like nominally, just like
Yeah, he
fluid.
appears to be an encyclopedia of knowledge on the guests and the origins of this house and anything that comes his way, really.
His name is Wikipedia.
Okay. I think I'd walk up with I'd grab a drink off a passerby and walk up and
Just
steal it off.
no,
Somebody
off
do
one of the
yoink.
servers, not just yoink.
Roll a sleight of hand check.
And just be like, oh, and kind of walk up and say, "Can you tell me what you know of the House Tellerman, my good sir?"
Oh. The House Tellerman. Uskian origin? No known members in the past few generations? Some military leaders in the old war, I believe. Why? Why do you ask?
Just I've heard you answering all of the entourage here with just absolute astounding accuracy. How do you know so much?
Well, my dear boy, when you spend a life as I have, you pick up a few things. I simply will tell you what I tell the kids. I love to read.
Quite. Sorry, I never addressed as Tellerman at your service.
The origins of a question unveiled. My name is Erasmus Lex.
Okay. And you are the leader of the Scholars Society, is that correct?
Nominally, of course, there are many who would disagree and proclaim themselves leaders, and truth be told, I don't really mind. I accept the post, though, yes. Forgive me, I am being somewhat flippant with your question. I am certainly recognized as one of our premier representatives. And his kindly eyes seem to twinkle with almost a stifled laugh at that as he smiles at you.
Okay. I do have another question that's been burning in my mind, which I've not really been able to...
All the best questions do.
So, I am from the House Tellerman, and we've always been told that Melva is the public figurehead of House Dawn. But upon arrival, it appears to be Kairos, and I'm just... What's happened to Melva?
Well, that certainly varies from your first question now, doesn't it?
The first question was more to see how encyclopedic you seem to be.
Fear not, I am more than used to people feeling the urge to test me. Truth be told, I welcome the challenge. As for Melva... I'm afraid I can't really answer. I wouldn't know. Not my business. And he smiles at you and walks past you quite brusquely with his entourage in tow, until an incredibly recently familiar voice of Erasmus rings out in your head. He goes, much better. More private. Truth be told, Melva was an old friend of mine. He and I used to gallivant around this town when we were in our first century. I haven't seen nor heard from him in some time. I do not know what happened, but it is not without my best efforts to find out. However, I must be cognizant of my position and do not wish to drag the Scholars Society into any conflict that would get in the way of its members' learning. So I was forced to abandon my quests. I hope you are harder to dissuade.
We are currently trying to ascertain certain things.
I assume
and-
you're attempting to reply telepathically.
Yeah.
You realize that you can reply to him as soon as
Okay.
you...
We're just expecting him just to burst
Just
in.
to burst out
Oh.
Thank you. We are currently trying to establish certain things, and it's proven difficult, to say the least.
And at this, you hear his warm chuckle in your head again. And with a glance, you realize that he is still orbiting the room in full conversation with several people while doing this. And you simply hear in your mind, yes, well, every great journey of learning begins with a clue. I say, Kairos seems awfully fast rising. And what strange company Haskier de Reese is for such a man. The mind truly boggles. And with that, you feel his presence slip away from your mind. As without stride, he's still orbiting, answering the questions of many around him.
Right. I think I'd probably neck the drink that I've got and just put it on another serving plate and grab another one and just keep walking around.
You
What does
neck the
neck
drink you've
drink
got.
mean?
You down it.
Yeah. Down it.
Oh,
Chug it.
okay.
Chug, chug,
You
chug.
smash it against your neck.
Look, as someone who doesn't drink, there are some things I just don't know.
Doesn't drink, doesn't English. What the hell is this? Alright. Oh, I mean English. Fuck you. Alright.
Oh, the Queen's English.
The mate's English. Alright, so Adrastus, you down your drink swiftly. It's seems to be some sort of spirit reminiscent of gin almost. Like a gin. I do like a gin gimlet. I'll say it's one of those. What would you like to do as you grab another drink off of a passing server?
I think I would see if I can see Derek anywhere.
Yeah, Derek is currently walking away looking even grumpier, if possible, from a rather
Darn.
upstartish looking young elvish man who is now tending to the fallen form of David on the bench.
Is David unconscious?
It's hard to tell at this distance.
I think I walk up to Derek and just be like, how's it going?
Oh, it's actually going great. I've learned absolutely nothing, and this guy is loaded out of his mind. Those guys, and I point at them, they are
Derek, you're supposed to be being stealthy here. Stop pointing.
stealthy. Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just saying they're being a little over the top. In my humble opinion, just tried to be nice. All they had to do was be nice back.
They insult Bricktown.
No, they just
They insulted Bricktown, didn't they, Derek?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's okay.
Their nose is a little far up in the sky.
I mean, they're mages. Come on.
I mean, you're a mage, right? You cast magics.
Not that kind of mage.
Anyway, we're getting off track. Did you figure something out? Because let's just say the drunks not gonna learn a whole lot from him.
I met Erasmus. The Sky College. Ringing a bell?
Mm-mm.
No, the Scholars
Society.
Scholar Society.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he spoke to me in my mind
Oh, okay.
and told me to basically to confirmed what we already suspected.
Can I just stop? Not you talking, but
Yep.
Can I ask Connor a question when we are having this conversation? Can I look around stealthily to see if there's anybody watching us?
Yeah.
Yes, make me a perception check.
I have done so well with these so far. Oh, yep. That's a natural one.
Oh my god.
You're in a hall.
Oh, good.
Yeah. There are people. That's
Yeah.
about it.
I'm seething at the moment.
Basically, we need to be keeping an eye on the people who we've already been keeping an eye on.
Yeah, that it's not a whole lot of information to go off, honestly, but
Yeah. We'll should we grab some food for the others and reconvene?
yeah, let's do it. I'm gonna grab some of those cocktail weenies.
I like you all assuming there's cocktail sausages.
Yeah, I know.
in.
You've not actually said what food there is.
Lomos hasn't invented cocktail sausages yet. You guys should get on that. There's a sort of, a variety, a smorgasbord, if you like, of amuse-bouches. You take some particularly... I said amuse-bouches, not charcuterie, John. Oh my god, those are different things!
It is there?
Yeah, they are. They're totally
Yes.
different.
Oh,
Nerd
things.
really?
said! Alright, you guys grab what appears to be some sort of salmon mousse, almost formed to look like a small ice cream cone on a small wafer biscuit. And you grab a handful of those off a very surprised-looking server who thinks about asking why, but then just walks off.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, we'll head back to the
Yeah, so the rest of the group
the
are
Sure.
engine.
So you guys head back to the exhibition hall, and guys in the exhibition hall. While the event's been going on, there have been some people milling about and slowly sort of trickling through and either taking sort of like a polite notice, and you see them nodding to a member of Sky College and sort of making their pleasantries and then leaving. But a few have had a closer look. A few have come up to the cordon and kind of had a little peer and stared at it, but no noteworthy incidents or individuals yet. As you see Adrastus and Derek return, amuse-bouches in hand.
Gimme.
Oh, gimme.
May I have one, please? I've been working on my properness.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
How's
Tastes good.
it been?
Mostly quiet.
Did you, Nix? Did you just spit that out?
You saw nothing.
It's on the floor. It's a hardwood floor.
Fine,
There's
I'll
now a
pick it up.
half-chewed salmon mousse on the floor.
Oh,
People will just think it fell off the engine. Anyway,
Gods.
fell off.
That's the fuel source.
Oh,
I'll just kind of like kick it underneath if I can, if that's possible.
It's on a
You
plinth.
kind of smush it up against the ridge of the plinth where it's set into the floor until eventually, unless you looked for it, you wouldn't see it. But there is now a small portion of salmon mousse smushed between the plinth and the floor.
See, it's fine. It's okay. You were saying?
Oh, but just asking how it's been.
Kind of boring. No one tried to touch anything, so I haven't got to hit anyone yet. So
Okay, Nix,
Hmm?
please don't hit people.
well, I would just forcefully remove them from touching distance, right? That's all.
You can do that with a hand. Just
Okay.
a gentle touch.
All right.
long story short, on our end, there's the higher end and the lower end of people in that hall. Let me just say, the lower end aren't privy to talk to the help.
I mean, no. Okay. Can I look around and see if anyone's looking? Obviously, there's people milling around.
Yep.
Can I look around and see if anyone's paying attention to our conversation?
Doesn't seem to be, no. They seem to be mostly concerned with either discussing things amongst themselves, and a couple are sort of like staying behind the cordon, but sort of getting different angles at the end game.
Okay. So Erasmus told me that him and Melvar used to be friends. And he looked into Melvar's disappearance but couldn't get anything and had to abandon it for fear of essentially, if he delved too much, he is the nominated leader of one of the societies, so could start a war. He's basically pointed us in the direction of Yaskier and Kairos.
Oh.
So they are who we need to look at.
They are
Shenanigans
also
time?
probably the hardest ones to look at.
Yep.
Well,
Now, I will say, as someone who's dealt with this before, his office is upstairs. I don't ever suggest touching that doorknob, but I could suggest getting into that room somehow.
I would just say to that, if he's trapped the door, he's probably trapped the windows and any other entrances to the room.
You're
And
right.
also, if I sneak in, I'm not sure I'd be able to get out again.
I'm just saying, the man. Let me be frank here. I don't like the man. So if there's something going on with him specifically, ooh, it's gonna be so good when I figure it out.
I did have a slight plan of how to get to the table for me to potentially do some listening, though.
Mm-hmm.
If I turn into a spider and go on Derek's shoe and he walks up and thanks Kairos for his help, I can then go underneath the table and listen.
Seems good.
Yeah, seems like a fair plan.
I think I can be civil in front of people for a few more minutes.
Yeah, just do the
You
thing
could
again.
potentially even shake Yaski's hand and apologize to him.
Yeah, that would be, I think,
Yeah.
respected.
I'm just
be the
worried he's
res-
gonna like attack me or something.
I don't think he will.
I don't think he will, but I'm a little hesitant.
I mean, it's his house. He's in front of all these pompous jackasses.
yeah, but it's
I
his
say
house.
that a
He
little
can do
too
what he
loud.
wants, right? He can
Yeah.
do what he wants.
But he doesn't want to look poorly in front of everyone.
You're
I'm-
right. Yeah,
it's a-
I can try to make amends. Absolutely,
Yeah.
right? You don't want to leave on bad terms, but I hate him.
That's fine. You
You-
don't
you-
have
you
to
can-
like him.
yeah.
Just pretend. Just
I can
schmooze.
I can pretend, and I put on like a hey face again.
You see?
Hey.
There you go. That's
Hey.
terrifying.
Right. So, is everyone okay with this plan?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, we need to find somewhere where it's not going to be noticed me turning into
Well,
a spider.
both of you go to the bathroom.
What if there's
Together.
what if there's an attendant in the bathroom?
They have stalls in there, don't they? Like separate, so you don't just see each other doing things.
I don't know,
Okay.
just go
Alias, you've
outside.
never been in a men's bathroom.
Female
Just a
character.
giant hole in the middle.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why don't we
The
just
pit.
the pit? Oh no,
Clearly, I've never been into a men's bathroom.
You've never been to a
Nix has
festival
never been
toilet
into
either,
a men's
Jesus.
Oh
bathroom.
my
Yeah.
god.
the
Okay,
shit
I've been to one
pit.
of those.
Never say that again. Oh my god.
Well, if you're
Anyway.
worried about the bathroom, just go outside so you get in
Yeah.
some air and find
Yeah.
out.
I mean, there's
That
the entrance, the big entrance that we came in, like right there.
Yeah, let's just go. That's easier.
Well,
Let's
good luck.
go.
Right.
Alright, so what is your guys' plan? What would you like to do?
I think go outside.
Okay.
And
So you're
find
walking
a
around
seclu-
the front of the house, I guess?
Yep, and then find a secluded spot.
Okay.
And then I'm going to turn into a spider and go on Derek's shoe.
What happens to his clothes again? Do they shrink with him?
Yeah, they
just-
Are you
they-
a spider in a
absorb.
tuxedo now?
No, no, they
alter-
just they
no,
disappear.
They alter
Oh,
with him.
All right.
Alright, so-
That'd be adorable.
What you're just taking the form of a house spider.
Yeah, like
essentially,
this, like a penny spider. You know,
right? Okay,
the
like a
smallest
tiny
things.
penny spider, and
Yeah.
you're going where on Derek's shoe.
Yeah, shoe / trouser leg, something.
Okay.
The one with the dagger in it.
This is gonna be one hell of a ride for you.
Yeah. His name is Gascade Dara Reese. Is that right?
No,
Yes,
that's
What?
very wrong.
Yaskier de Reese.
Yaskier de Reese.
Yaskier de Reese is JASKIER DEREES.
Oh, I almost had that right.
How did you say it?
I
John?
actually did spell it right.
I thought his name was
I had a
Gasquet.
Y.
Right?
Gaskia. Like
It's a French name. Look it up.
How are
from
you
The
spelling
Witcher.
that?
Well, at least the way I spell it is Gasquet.
Oh, right. Okay.
Wait.
gasket.
Gasket, basically. Yeah.
Gosky.
So what's his name again? I'm sorry.
Gaskia.
Gasket.
Right.
I will type it in the group
Thank
chat.
you. God. If I have to talk to this man, I need to know what his name is. I can't spell supposedly, so or hear for that matter. Gasquet.
Right.
Jaskier.
Gasket.
Yeah.
Oh
You said
my
you said
God.
yeah.
You
not
got it,
gas.
John. You got it.
Right.
I am
Gasquet
now.
Derice.
John,
Got
you can
it.
just say any old nonsense you want, and I'll just assume you're talking to him.
Hey, you.
Hey,
Ooh,
buddy.
guy.
Hey, Jubba
You,
Jubs.
you Vinny. What's up?
Birdman.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Birdman, yeah.
I'm a spider on John's leg.
Yes.
Awesome. I head back into the ballroom.
All right, you guys head back into the ballroom. It is similar scenes to before.
I would like to wait in line at the head table. For the head table.
Okay, so you join the line of people, Drastus riding along on your leg, and eventually the line dies down until you do reach, and you now see that Kairos is sitting in a corner seat. There's nobody else up at the high table at the moment. It's just him, almost like holding these audiences in a way. And as you approach, he looks up towards you and he simply goes, "Oh, Derek, hello."
Hi, yeah, I'm sorry to bother you. I know you're busy. You got like an entourage of people wanting to talk to you. I wanted to come and say my sincere thank you. I'm sorry if I came off a little harsh back there. I was dealing with a lot at the time. Just wanted to say thank you so much for help.
That's quite all right.
And let me know if there's anything I can do to help you. If you need anything, I know there's lots of people. If you need people, go away or whatever. Not go away, but just like get out of your
Go
hair
away.
in case you're busy.
Forgive me, I assumed you meant something else.
No. Well, I think my Black Blade friends could be hired for that, but that's not me. So, yeah, I just wanted to say thank you.
That's quite all right.
And
I've
I'll
hopped off his
leave.
leg.
Okay. And what is your plan, Adrastus?
So I'm pretty much gonna scurry up like the side legs of the table and then just like cling onto the underside and just basically chill out there.
Okay, you just chill out on the underside of the table.
Can you
As,
imagine if it wears off? You're just like plonk full time.
yeah.
I did look, I've got like 2 to 3 hours of like
Okay.
time.
You listen
Alright.
to, yeah, I mean, from there you can simply hear Kairos addressing fairly minor concerns and some
Yeah.
personal griefs of several people. It seems to be some rivalries between mages over almost like copyright issues, essentially, and he seems to kind of half delivering verdicts, half just advising people as to what route to take. But what else would you like to do?
I think because no one else is sitting at the table, are they?
Not currently, no.
No. Honestly, I'm waiting until everyone just sits down. I'm gonna wait and see what happens.
Okay. Some time passes. We'll come back to the rest of the party in a second, but some time passes, and eventually you do hear scraping of chairs, and you see the dark robes of a House Dusk member sit beside Kairos. And at this, you hear... Now, have you actually spoken to Derice?
I haven't, no.
No, so you hear a man's voice speaking and addressing issues much in the same way as Kairos, with occasionally the two tackling an issue together, and they seem to be discussing all forms of inter-guild matter, and nothing particularly catches your ear, for the most part.
Okay.
Now, the rest of the party, guarding the Engen. Derek, what would you have done?
I would have traveled back towards the door and kind of just like not staked out, but tried to find a spot that's a little out of the way, but still in the grand hall, just so that I don't leave Adrastus in the
Sure,
room.
you
by
find
himself.
you find a leaning spot, and you just kind of keep an eye on the head table.
Trying to grab a drink as someone walks by. Hopefully, they'll actually give me one.
Now, the rest of the party, you are guarding the Engen, and not too much seems to happen until a rather stout dwarf walks up to you, Ozovax. He goes, "Hey, you guarding that?
It certainly looks like that, yes.
Alright. I'm, Here to inspect it. Sally sent us.
What does the dwarf look like? What's he dressed in?
He's dressed in what appears to be Sky College attire. He is in some sort of like grubby overalls and rolled up shirt. He certainly doesn't fit in with the more formally dressed guests, but not many of the Sky College members do.
Have I seen him around with the other Sky College members?
Ooh. Make me just an intelligence check.
Okay. One moment. Well, that's 13.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Well, I would prefer if you could get Sally to come over and just to confirm that you can check this, because she has employed us to guard it and prevent anyone from sort of interfering with it.
Look, listen. I'll give you 10,000 gold. Walk away.
No, I don't. You know, if you want to try and bribe someone, make it a more realistic amount.
Give it 20,000 gold.
No, I don't think so. Can I get your name as well, please?
I'll give you 50,000 gold.
50? Well, I'd be silly not to take that, eh?
Yeah?
Just hop on, mate.
75,000 gold.
Come
The
on!
answer is no. Go away, you small thing.
This angry, thick, dark hair, bushily bearded dwarf looks up towards you, Nix, with an incredulous look on his face and goes, 90,000 gold.
Oh my god. Can I pick him up, please, and just remove him from this building?
Are you going to try to lift him off the floor?
Don't make a scene. Don't make a scene. Look, Master Dwarf, just you've been silly now.
100,000.
You could go and buy your own with that much money. Why do you want go away?
I'll buy this one.
Go ask Sally. Don't talk to us. We're just
You're
here to
really
do
bad
something.
at this.
She said it's all right. She said it's all right.
Almighty.
110,000.
This is
You're
ridiculous.
not very bright, are you?
Oz, please can
Huh?
I remove this
I
individual?
just escort him down.
120,000.
Just
Yeah?
just escort
Ship
him.
hand,
Sir, please come with me. And I'm gonna like grab him and push him out.
Are you trying to shove him away?
Yes.
Make a strength check.
I'm sorry, I need to roll my dice here. That is a not very good roll of shit. Oh, that's okay. 12.
12. He kind of starts taking tiny steps away, but all the time he's just stepping backwards, slightly going, what's it? What? 130,000.
Shut up!
That's a lot of gold. Why wouldn't you take it?
Because we don't want your gold.
It's a lot of gold. 140,000.
Oh my god. Go bark up another tree.
150,000.
What do
Okay.
you think?
I would like to start raging.
All right, wait, no. All right. 175,000, and I get 20 seconds with it.
What?
But I get to take notes.
No!
All right, 180,000.
This is my
15
favorite
seconds.
character in this entire campaign.
I would
notes.
like to pick him up.
Are you going to try to pick him up now?
Yes.
You're raging. Did you actually
Yes.
start raging? Okay,
I start raging.
Nick lets out a blood-curdling scream and attempts to pick this guy up. Make me a strength check with advantage.
I love it.
This is-
Love it.
It's a 19.
All right.
And,
This is the Viashino
20.
shopkeeper all over again.
So you pick him up as effortlessly as if you were lifting a fork. You pick him up to be on eye level with you and start walking him towards the goods entrance to the hall. He's like, right, okay, right, I don't know what this is. 200,000. And you're nearing the exit. All right, I'll give you 250,000.
I'm just gonna chuck him out.
I love it because in rage you can't.
As
There's
you
no
throw
mental
him,
capacities.
as you just toss him, all you hear is, right, I'll take that as a no. And the dwarf was never seen again.
Yeah, he's still flying to this day.
Nix, however, your performance garnered many eyes in your direction as you walk back to a shocked hall of looker-oners. What would you like to do?
I'm just gonna walk away from everyone.
All right. A foaming at the mouth Nick storms up. Everyone else.
Oh god.
As I'm watching and making sure we don't have any more dwarves, we're trying to look at the thing. I will try to be listening in on what people are saying about the Endgin, if anything interesting catches my ear.
Sure. So you kind of do a round, and you hear people mostly speaking almost like skeptical praise about this, as if they can't quite believe it's true. A lot of them demanding to see it in action, and a few people sort of calming those assertions by saying, oh, they're going to demonstrate it later. And generally a lot of chatter in anticipation. I would say that it's sort of like skeptical anticipation is generally what you pick up on.
I will calm down and return to my post.
All right, you make it back to the world of the thinking and resume your post.
I'm sorry that I lost my cool there, but he was very, 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 very annoying.
He was quite weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, no one else tried to touch it, right?
Not that I saw.
Good. All right. I wonder how well Adrastus is doing underneath the table.
Speaking of Adrastus, it's as the cues seem to have died down, and you hear an audible sigh of relief from both of the men you've been listening to, Kairos and this unidentified to you, House Dusk member. You hear, in a different tone, Kairos lean over slightly and go, pretty funny about that guy who was exploring your house earlier. Yes, he replies saying, yes, my ward must have failed. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been around for you to heal. He goes, oh yes, well, I had to do that to, keep the show moving. I didn't want things to seem askew. Because, yes, I would have let him stew in his misery, but I suppose you had the right way of handling it. We can't have anybody here getting into the office. And with that, they seem to go back to just sipping their wine and...
As for a bunch of magic people that can talk to each other telepathically, they're doing a really bad job.
Okay.
How do you get out of there?
I mean, I'm still a spider. I'm pretty sure I can just scuttle away, but...
Don't get stepped on.
Yeah, don't get stepped on.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you doing, Adrastus?
Yeah, what's your exit plan?
Yellow mini banana bread as a
How
spider.
long have I been there for?
Probably like
Jesus.
30, 40 minutes.
Okay. I think I'm still just going to kind of wait it out a little bit.
Okay. Is there anything anybody would like to do?
I want to go peek in just to see what people are doing.
Sure, so the ball seems to have sort of broken down a little bit more into groups actually socializing now and sitting and eating and drinking together. There seems to have been food served almost on demand, as some tables seem to be sat eating, whereas others are quite content to simply drink the evening away. You do see at the head of the table, there's nobody in any of the 4 seats except Kairos and Gasquet.
Where's Sally?
Sally is actually nowhere to be seen at the moment.
Oh. Strange. Thought she'd be milling. What time is the demonstration going to be?
You haven't been informed.
Oh, we're just kind of waiting for
Yeah,
it.
you just heard later from the guests.
Okay. So I'm going to amble back to them and be like, these are so boring. Are they always this boring?
I don't know. I've never been to one before.
I suppose Adrastus would know, but he's currently preoccupied. Anyone want to play a game?
We're on a job. What?
I'm bored, okay? Sorry. I'm not used to just standing around doing nothing. There's no one trying to do anything. Where's the dwarf guy? Let him come back.
Oh, be careful what you wish.
Don't give Connor that idea.
500,000 gold.
A lot of gold, man.
Personally, I
That is
think
a
that
lot
it's a
of gold.
good thing that nothing is going on.
I suppose. I'm gonna get bored and touch the engine.
So at this point, Adrastus, you see the legs of the House Dusk mage. He seems to stand up and walk away from the table, once again leaving Kairos on his own.
Do I see him like where he's going?
Yes, you do. You see him not walk up the staircase, but actually walk out the front towards the entrance to the house.
Okay.
Adrastus, you doing anything?
I'm playing the long game. I'm just waiting.
He's gonna turn into a man underneath that table, and it's gonna be awesome.
No, I'm trying to wait until the demo goes on for the engine.
To get out.
But if
So
I start
you guys just waiting to that.
if I start thinking that the timings, like obviously if you then said, oh, the demo's not gonna be for 4 hours, I'm gonna try and leave before then.
There doesn't seem to be any sort of movement towards the engine, and bear in mind it's still relatively early in the evening.
Yeah.
And you did hear people, well, you didn't hear, but others heard that the demonstration was going to be tonight. So
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I would do is just check in on the engine once or twice when I'm just kind of mulling around.
Other than Nyx looking kind of out of breath and a little bit red in the face, nothing too amiss seems to be occurring.
Yeah, Drastus is just still. I don't know
Hanging
where
out.
I don't know where he is. I assume he's there somewhere. But that's it.
What if he gets squished?
I mean,
Like-
won't he like become a dude again?
I don't know how it works.
I
Like,
think
does he
that's how it
become
works.
like mighty as a human, but in a little insect form, or does he just go?
You know, I can't say that I've ever asked him.
Maybe you should try to stand on him, just to see.
What? Nix, you always have the worst ideas.
I thought they've all been relatively okay so far. I haven't gotten us killed, or at least a Primarch. Just saying.
Just
Wow.
because an idea doesn't have negative consequences in practice doesn't mean it's not still a bad idea on paper.
Fine, I suppose.
Or stone, or whatever you people use.
Yeah, but that's it for me. I just try to update them as I know more, and that's all I know. So
All right. Well, seeing as we have some time to kill, you who've been here longer than we have, fill us in on your party member that Adrastus was getting all uptight about, trying to get back. Like, where are they?
Oh, Coraline?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as far as we know, she's been captured or indisposed or trapped in some way. As for if we'll ever see her again or be able to help her, we don't know.
that's why we're going through all of this. See if we can. Well, there's other life world saving things that we're doing as well, but she's a part of our party. We need to see if she's alive.
And she disappeared when the whole dragon thing happened.
Yeah, she didn't make it out of the battlefield.
I'm sorry to hear that. Well, I hope we find something out then, and can discover what happened to her, and hopefully it's good news, I suppose.
Yeah.
So at this point, you do see several people sort of file into the engine room who appear to be almost more official looking members of the houses, and they seem to be giving it a stroll once around and actually really kind of taking it in stock this time. But everything seems to be in orderly fashion. Clearly they have noticed your presence. You get several eyes from members of the Dawn and the Dusk entourages, and even Erasmus himself comes in and gives it a once over and wanders around while smiling to himself. But none of them seem to approach, as your presence has certainly been noted, with Nyx's rather impressive display earlier garnering her a few fearful looks. But Adrastus, any update under the table?
How's it hanging?
Twiddling my spidery pedipalps.
Nice. That is a very technical term. So at this point, you do see Kairos himself stand up and disappear from sight. You're unsure of where he's going.
Do I know where he's going?
You see him stand up and actually also begin walking towards the entrance of the house. However, once he disappears around the corner, you can't really follow him anymore.
I think at that point I'd drop off the table.
And
start.
what is your plan?
Trying to skitter around towards like where the bathroom was. Like,
I
so,
don't-
like,
So on the other length, of, like the length of the grand hall, right?
yeah, so kind of try and get to a wall and then go on the wall and go around.
All right, make me a dexterity saving throw as a
boy.
server attempts to swat you.
Smoosh! Smoosh him! Smoosh
Well,
him!
I
Oh
get
my
to
God.
I get to
Hold
contest this big
Let me
one.
have a look. Hold
Oh,
on.
boy.
What's my plus? Hold on.
What is the
You're
dexterity
screwed.
of a house spider?
Oh God, I don't know.
More
Just-
importantly,
pretty damn high.
what's the dexterity of a house server?
Employed purely for spider killing.
Right.
They are all Tarrasques. So
I got a 19. So
Very good.
yeah.
I also rolled a 19, so
Oh,
I'd ask you
boy.
to
Attacker
re-roll it.
wins?
Oh shit.
Nah, I re-roll it.
I'm sorry. Okay, right. Oh, shit.
You're not very good at this, Justin.
That's another 19.
I'm not a server.
I rolled a 17 that time, so you managed to narrowly evade as you make it to a wall. And what are you planning to do?
So basically, go to the wall and then like go high and then skitter around and then sneak into the bathroom.
Okay, you make it into the bathroom by the kitchens. You
Are there stalls unoccupied?
No, there's
Are there
quite a few
stalls?
guys in here. There's a lot of guests queuing to use the stalls.
I'm just gonna have to wait until one of the stalls is unoccupied.
That doesn't seem to be an option at this time.
This most riveting
Okay.
D&D
I'll
episode
head
ever.
outside. I'll head outside then.
Okay. So you head outside and presumably change back into a human.
Yeah.
Alright.
And just walk back in.
Nice. You walk back
Just
in.
imagine seeing a dress just like come out of a bush. Just
What's up, guys?
Sorry, guys, the
Um,
toilets were full.
Yeah, I'll walk back into the end room and just walk up to the guys and be like, yeah,
Hallelujah! You're back.
Let's find out.
you okay there?
I'm bored. I'm so bored. Is it always this boring at Drastus?
I mean, guard work is pretty dull by itself, I
No, just-
think.
In general, the music and the people, they're always like, it's so tiring and dull.
I mean, when you get into it, they're pretty entertaining. Anyway, that's not beside the point. We need to get into that office.
I'm
Am
not
I
touching
there? I suppose I'm still in the other room. Never mind.
it. I'm not touching it. You saw what happened to
Yeah.
Derek.
Derek, I assume you would have went back in when they left the table. If it's up to you,
Yeah.
Cool.
That's you're
I'll
right.
give you the out.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, we need to get into that office somehow.
Well, I can.
Who's
tell you
opening the door?
I mean, you've already got 2 fingers down. What's another 3?
Yeah, I've never felt that kind of pain in my life, and I don't ever want to again.
Well,
Okay,
we do have options. We can try the door again, but I can use my mage hand to try and potentially open it. Maybe that will do it, maybe not. Or there is the rest of the house to explore. Perhaps there's another entrance or a key or something like that that would turn off the trap.
It
What
is
Or
is-
even an outer entrance, perhaps.
as far as like
Balcony?
yeah, as far as I could glean, it is a ward that Yaski has placed, and I think Derek has been very lucky because by the sounds of it, if he hadn't pulled his hand away in time, he just wouldn't be here.
Yikes.
That's good information. Thanks. Glad I'm lucky and not dead.
Rather be lucky than dead.
Nice.
And we definitely cannot trust Kairos.
Okay. So,
Oz, you all right?
yeah.
Called it.
Okay, so we can't leave.
So you were
Now.
sitting under there
Yep.
for like an hour and a half,
Yep.
and you came up with just that.
They left. They weren't exactly the most talkative pair. What do you want from me to go and tap them on the shoulder and
No, I would just
weave a web and say, "Tell me more"?
It's not the it's not the not getting the information. It's not thinking of a plan when you were down there for an hour and a half.
Lots of time to space out, really.
I mean, it's more than we learned or knew beforehand, so I think you did a decent
100%.
job.
The information's good. I just think you should have been thinking of what to do with it.
I'll tell you what. Why don't me and Derek go check out that door again? I'll try my mage hand on it. Worst comes to worst, the mage hand gets, the necrotic fingers, and well, it's just a magical thing. But let's try that at
Wow.
least. If that doesn't work,
Disrespecting tools.
if that doesn't work, we'll come back, think of another plan, and go from there. But let's at least try something.
How are you
Is
going to
this-
get there?
It's right up the bloody stairs.
So I've been thinking
Right, okay.
there's one probably real good opportunity since God, how's that gonna work? Because when the engine is turned on, right?
Everyone
I
will be
assume
here.
everyone's gonna
Yeah.
be, or at least very important people are gonna be here to watch it run, right? So it'd be a good time to do it. The problem is we need to be here to make sure no one does anything to it. So there's got to be like a squad of people that go like you and me, Oz. Problem is, I'm worried that they're gonna see two people leave and then be like, "Oh, what the hell are they doing while we're all in here?"
I don't think Derek should be one of the ones to go.
And that too, because if they catch me again, I'm probably dead.
I'm also, I would probably say out of all of us, Zimmy and Oz would be the best people to go.
Yeah.
He is the tallest.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's do that then.
Address. I know I said your name wrong on purpose.
Address.
Every single time.
Why, Zimmy,
love
why
it.
do you not know my name?
It's like it's
Shut
like
up, ass toss. Zimmy's talking.
Did you get a sense that it was time sensitive? Because we could maybe go back and talk to Alex. Alex?
No, I
Potentially.
don't think it is. I think essentially this is all part of an ongoing thing for them. I don't
So,
think there's a time sensitive issue.
Potentially, we could wait to seek aid.
Well, I don't know.
However-
we know for certain that Yaskia won't be in the office during the
Yes.
Yeah.
demonstration. And if something does go wrong, hopefully the confusion of the ball, all the people milling around, we can sort of blend in. And I think now is the perfect time, if anything.
That's fair.
I don't
And
know.
also, how
this
do we
is-
get back in here afterwards?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we'd
Yeah.
have to sneak back in even harder.
I snuck in a dagger. Do you think you'll need it while you're gallivanting over there?
I won't.
Sure.
Do you have somewhere on you could put it?
God, you can't ask people that.
Did the tailor put pockets in your suit?
You have pockets.
Okay.
Not like dagger-sized pockets.
I mean, it's got to be
Really?
somewhere.
Let's just say, if we get caught, what use is the dagger going to
I-
be? You know,
Yeah, I
You're
don't
right.
need it.
All right.
It's fine.
All right.
we'll just run. All right.
We'll just run.
So
Mm.
why don't Derek Adrastus, you take our place? Then ask me and Zimmy have gone on a break, and
Yeah.
we'll go mill around in the Great Hall until the demonstration begins. When everyone gathers round, we'll slip in. Easy as that.
Sounds like fun.
Before I leave, I'm gonna describe to Adrastus the faces that did come up to the thing, just so he can let Sally
Sure.
know.
You give a
Okay.
brief rendition of the familiar faces from Sky College.
Okay.
There
Go
was,
team.
yeah, there was
Right.
this
And
dwarf.
break.
He kept asking
That
to
guy.
touch it, and I threw him out. I didn't punch him though, Adrastus. You'll be proud of me.
She literally threw him out.
I did.
Literally through.
Yes, he wouldn't stop. He just kept raising the number. He offered us like 200,000 gold just to touch it.
200. Oh, hold on. Wait, what?
Derek, no.
No, I get it. Well, contracts, but 200. I don't even think
Do you
someone could
really
have
think he
that
had
on
that?
them.
No, why?
No.
If he had that much money, he could just go and buy it outright from Sally. He wouldn't need to sit here bartering with us to get it.
You're right.
Stupid little
I
man.
gotta find that dwarf though.
Derek, no, you don't.
He's probably in the bush outside if I broke things. Go have a look.
All right, so Oz and Zimmy, are you heading off?
Yeah, I think we're just.
Yep.
I would say into the Great Hall, find an occupied, quieter area that's as close to the stairs as possible, and wait things
Slip
out.
up. Yeah, so you just wait until I mean, attention isn't really in your direction anyway. You are amongst, the masses, and A lot of drinks have been had by this point. The head table still remains empty, and you're able to slip into the stairwell pretty subtly, you assume.
All right, then, I guess let's just try it. I'll just...
So you climb your way up,
Alright.
and the heavy oaken door bound with iron once again stands about 4 or 5 steps up from you. What are you going to try?
Well, Connor, this might take you by surprise.
Are you going to mage hand it? Shocking.
I'm going to cast lightning.
Do you know what? That's one way. Do you know what this campaign's missing? Invisible Steve. He just come back and just say,
Invisible
Yeah.
Steve.
There was a guy.
he did so much.
Yeah. Conjure mage hand and try and turn the doorknob.
All right, as you reach out with your mage hand towards it, there is a brief flash of black over the hand, but no effect seems to take place, and you're able to grasp the iron rung and twist it open, seemingly.
Well, that was easier than I thought.
Bastard.
Once the door is fully open, I guess I'll just very carefully not traipse.
Well, as you climb up the final few steps and the door swings inwards, and a rush of cold air meets your face, that's where we'll end for tonight.
Classic.
I knew that.
You bitch.
Thanks for listening, and
So-
2.5
Go
hours
fuck-
to get to
Oh
that.
my god.
Ah.
they opened a door. That is the best party achievement in a single session ever. Oh my goodness. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening and watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time. And yeah, thank you for watching. Appreciate you. I'll be visible next time again as well. And we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.